and he's saying this is a tragic embarrassment. We are an embarrassment, and what Kirk Cousins is giving voice to there is the voice of dumb, selfish embarrassment.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgarts on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Saturday Night Football presents the arrival of the ACC. Clemson.
Feels good to be back.
Wake Forest.
It's been a long road to get here. We're excited.
A new journey begins as Trevor Lawrence leads the Tigers on the road to face the Demon Deacons. Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Top-ranked Clemson at Wake Forest, part of Marathon Conference Kickoff. Saturday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC and streaming live on the ESPN app.
Janae and Golick Jr.
A lot of the core of this team is battle-tested as hell, and this is no disrespect to how good this Boston team is, but this Toronto team has seen and been through a lot tougher tests than this. Kyle Lowry and these guys, as much as for a long time they had that cap of LeBron on top of the East, they got over the hump. This is a team with championship metal that's not going to be deterred by some 0-2 hole.
Janae and Golick Jr. Weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern.
We rise together for this generation and the next. On the court and in the streets. For your city, for your team. For everything it took to get to this moment. Rise together. Because together, we can win it all.
The NBA playoffs continue tomorrow on ESPN. Presented by Wells Fargo. Rise together.
Spain and Fitz.
Even if they were willing to give up an L in a playoff game, they probably also thought the NBA would be in line with them on their decision to do that and would work with them. It takes a lot more for these NFL guys to decide we're willing to stand in the face of owners that may disagree with us, a league office that may disagree with us, and any number of players, which is a much bigger number in NFL rankings.
Spain and Fitz. Weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, your smart speaker, or wherever you stream your audio.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. Bucs star Giannis Antetokounmpo getting around-the-clock treatment on his sprained ankle, listed as questionable for Game 5 against the Heat tonight, a must-win. With Milwaukee's season on the line, if Giannis wants to play, he should, believes ESPN NBA analyst Richard Jefferson.
This is not something that's nagging that could be catastrophic like Kevin Durant, that he's going to be back healthy. But I think this is a tweaked ankle. I think if he wants to go, he's got all of the things around him, and we've already seen an epic comeback. So, he said it. If it could be anybody, it could be them.
That comeback referenced the Nuggets against the Jazz in the last round. NFL, the Cardinals holding on to receiver DeAndre Hopkins for a while. The team and Hopkins agreed on a 2-year, $54.5 million extension, $42.5 million guaranteed. He's tied to Arizona through the 2024 season. From ESPN's Jake Trotter, Browns agreed on a 2-year, $13 million extension with running back Kareem Hunt. 10 Republican lawmakers from 6 states, that includes 7 Big Ten schools, sent a letter to Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren and the league's presidents and chancellors, urging the conference to reconsider its postponement of the 2020 football season.
Download the DraftKings app and use code MAX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
ESPN 690, the home of the Florida State Seminoles in Jacksonville.
Duke goes down to defeat Florida State 79. Duke 74.
The basket lays. Oh, it drops. It drops with 1.8 seconds to go.
Here's the snap. Winston rolling right. Close to pass on the other. It's caught. It's caught. It's caught.
You'll hear Knowles football and men's basketball right here on ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio and the Florida State Seminoles.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
I just got this said to me. For the first time in my life, I have a quarterback. Leonard Fournette on Playing with Tom Brady in Tampa.
Shots fired. Shots confirmed.
Another shot fired.
Yeah.
Didn't like Minshew. Didn't like Nick Foles. Didn't like Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
Had 3 of them. Chad Henne. Didn't like him. Is he lying? Is he right? That's Leonard Fournette. The latest parting to start off a Tuesday afternoon here at Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. This was something I tweeted over the weekend, and it's more relative to me to the Ronnie Harrison tweet. And
Sure.
I tweeted it, and then I got,
What is this?
Brent, stop carrying the pail for the Jags.
Jags pail.
So I decided to bring my
Wait,
own
what?
pail.
What's happening right now?
I've got props.
Why do you have a Jags pail? What is going on right now?
You have to follow me on social media.
Was this in the email? I do
Nope.
follow you on social media.
Yeah, this weekend I was accused of carrying the Jags pail, so here it is.
Because you're like the sunshine and rainbow, so you're carrying the Jaguars baggage, I get like that?
Ronnie Harrison tweets over the weekend.
Yeah.
And he tweets another shot at Jacksonville, right?
I saw that, yeah, for sure. And I saw you comment on that.
And I commented on
I saw
that. And one of the comments, or some of the comments, were stop carrying the pail for the Jags, Brent.
I got you.
And see, that's okay. That's fine. That
hang on.
was one of those deals where, by the way, the tweet, it was like, that was one of my emotional tweets. In a sense.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's freaking Harrison. Like, if Jalen Ramsey wants to say something, he was an all-pro and Pro Bowler. If Leonard Fournette, who had a couple 1,000-yard seasons, wants to say something, it's like, okay, I get it. Ronnie Harrison?
I mean, he started
Ronnie
a couple
Harrison?
games. He started a couple games in the Jaguars defense.
Ronnie Harrison had like 10 penalties in 2 seasons with the Jags at safety. Like, I don't know if that's a lot, but it sounds like a lot. Like, Ronnie Harrison doesn't have the resume to be able to say anything, in my opinion. And so what people said was like, hey, well, that's a Jags organization. I mean, everybody says it as they leave. Well, no, not everybody says it as they leave. And yes, I put in my tweet, the Jags have a myriad of issues from top to bottom. They do. Mm-hmm. But I don't get the players tweeting endlessly when, listen, here's my view on it. The players were tasked with trying to turn this thing around. And they certainly celebrated and actually patted themselves on the back in 17 when they were turning it around. But then some of the players couldn't get it done in 18 and 19. And kind of left kicking and screaming or tail between their legs and now complaining about it on the way out. The way I view it is, listen, Jags have problems. You can blame ownership, blame the general manager, blame Tom Coughlin, blame Doug Marrone and the coaching staff. Can we blame the players for anything? It's a players' league, right? Sports are up to players. I mean, you can have bad situations, but the bottom line is you didn't get the job done either. That was my point. And especially for Ronnie Harrison. Ronnie Harrison was a third-round pick who hasn't quite lived up to it, and according to the Jags, just got beat out by 2 guys that nobody really had ever heard of in the NFL.
First of all, Kuz, let the record state that I am not the emotional one on this show. Brent is bringing in props because somebody said he's carrying the pail of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You went to Bed Bath & Beyond or someplace, got that pail, put Jags pail on it, and now it's in the studio. So let the record say that Brent Martineau is the emotional one, and I am not.
This will be maybe a good find jar.
I mean, that's what I thought it was going to be, and I'm not mad at that for sure.
Right now, I've got like some lifesavers in here.
You got a couple of accoutrements, if you will. Listen, I get what you're trying to say, but here's the issue that I have with it. When we're, if you were looking at these guys in the combine, right, and you go on NFL.com and you see their pros and cons of each player the Jaguars drafted, and you look at the pros, all right, great tackler, stout in the run, I don't know, something like that, just the kind of the cliche stuff. None of these negatives I saw are going to attack his team on social media after he leaves, okay? I never saw that one time. So what I can't believe and what I can't figure out is there's 32 teams in the NFL, and there's some bad teams in the NFL. There's been some historically bad teams in the NFL, not just the Jacksonville Jaguars. So why is it when every single player gets let go by the Jaguars, gets traded, those players in the Jaguars come out and say something, but when you have teams like the Browns, teams like the Dolphins, it's kind of all quiet on the Western Front?
Well, we probably don't pay attention to it as much. I'm not sure it's completely quiet on the Western Front. Minka Fitzpatrick asked out of Miami, too. I don't know if he said anything on the way out.
I didn't hear anything.
I didn't either.
All I know is right now Leonard Fournette saying stuff, so I guess maybe the media's picking on the Jacksonville Jaguars then?
Well, I think we're paying attention to it more. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Leonard, by the way, had been kind of humorous on Twitter until this shot at the Jaguars quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But
and now keep in mind, though, Minshew said stuff, too.
Minshew did. Well, we said that. We kind of read between that ego tweet,
yep,
right, or quote last week, and maybe that was directed at Fournette, and we wondered if it was a slip and maybe directed at Fournette.
Correct.
So, some of it's kind of fun. And again, I almost don't mind. Like if Calais Campbell had said something, which isn't his nature, so I'm not saying there wasn't any problems because Calais Campbell didn't say anything. Jalen says stuff, and Jalen just can't stop doing it. I mean, he just can't. He can't stop. Ronnie Harrison, checked himself and then still did it later on.
Yeah.
To me, it just shows the immaturity of the players. It really does. I mean, today's modern athlete, it's like, I got to be honest with you, if I was leaving, I'd probably want to take a shot too. I think I probably would. But it's a little bit of, to me, it's like, oh my gosh, I mean, are we just going to blame everybody else for not getting the job done? I mean, can you take some kind of accountability for not playing well, Ronnie? I mean, what did you do? You had personal fouls that you weren't even involved in the play. Is that coaching? Is that Tom Coughlin? Was that Shad Khan? Or was that you?
So,
at some point, I just wish, especially a guy that just doesn't have the resume to talk, it bugged me a little bit.
How about, what do you want for the resume? So, can Leonard Fournette talk? What do you have to have the resume to be able to talk?
It does feel like, listen, Jalen has a resume. I mean, Jalen played well. Jalen wasn't a bust here. Now, to me, Jalen quit on the Jags. Somebody yelled at him in a meeting, and he quit. I mean, that shows you the mentality of today's athlete, and maybe just Jalen Ramsey. But somebody yelled at him in a meeting in Houston or wherever, and he called his agent and asked out because he couldn't handle being yelled at. Now, could he not handle all the other stuff? But that's the one that triggered it to say, get out of here and eventually fake a back injury and get out of here and quit on basically trying to rebuild this franchise. Now, did the organization let him down as well? Probably along the way. Fair enough. But at least he had the resume to say, hey, I played great while I was here. I tried to do my job. If I'm going to yap, I can understand it a little bit. Leonard is a similar way, in my opinion. He put up production, and then they kicked him to the curb. If he wanted to say a little something, I kind of get it. I do. Ronnie Harrison, I mean, it just was it was stunning to me. It was like, Ronnie Harrison, you got to be lucky to try to earn playing time in Cleveland now. I mean, taking shots if you're Ronnie Harrison just didn't seem comparable to these other guys.
Okay, and that's fine. But keep in mind, the guy started 22 games here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you say he's so bad, well, he started for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So what does that say about the team then if you're making fun of the guy because he didn't really play that well?
Listen, just because I say this about the athlete, it's not an either-or thing. That's the problem with social media and everything else. I'm not saying it's one or the other. But I gave the accountability and the culpability does belong mostly to the Jags. My point in the tweet was, why can't any of the culpability rely on the athlete and the player, too?
No, I hear you. My point, though, is that I have the same, to me, Ronnie Harrison carries just the same amount of weight as Jalen Ramsey did. Because you know what? He does. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if you're a punter. I don't care if you're a special teams guy. If you played on that team and you started games, that means something. That means that you've seen behind the scenes. You've seen what's going on. And I'm going to listen to you. Now, whether you're right or wrong, we'll come to find out. But as far as, your credentials or anything like that, if you're on the team more than 1 year, 2 years, and if you played a couple games, I'll listen to you.
Yeah, maybe. The Ronnie Harrison stuff, this is what it says. He was in the middle of a 9-game losing streak of one of the most disappointing teams in franchise history in 2018, and he was also on a team that went, 6-10 last year and really never had a chance to make the postseason. He was part of that. To me, just as much. He was part of a defense that sucked. He was a part of a defense that couldn't stop the run. So, again, I kind of like the way Fournette left, and I know it was a statement from Rock Nation and everything, and he said, hey, we've had our ups and downs. He acknowledged that, hey, I wasn't always great here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an acknowledgement. That's an accountability.
Well, he said ups, but it could have been, how it was perceived.
But I actually even thought just putting that in was good.
Sure.
And now, of course, a few days later, he's taking a few shots. But
yeah, he is.
But I just took it, again, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought it was like, what the heck? This is Ronnie Harrison, Can you give us enough confidence, Ronnie, to not trade you away because you're a really good player? I mean, before taking shots, again, the Jags have earned a lot of it. To me, this was no different than when people get a little bit upset, and I don't really get as upset when the national guys take shots. The Ronnie Harrison one was, to me, like what we say about the national guys when they take shots, the analysts and stuff. Yeah. It's like, man, you haven't even been to Jacksonville. You haven't even covered Jacksonville. You're just taking a shot because you're seeing a headline. To me, Ronnie Harrison fell in that category on this one. It's like you're not a headline guy. You haven't lived up to third-round pick status. You just got beat out by two guys, or for whatever reason they wanted to get rid of you, and you're taking a shot. It didn't carry much weight with me.
See, here's where I'm coming from, though, right? Because I put myself in Ronnie Harrison's shoes. I put myself in Leonard Fournette's shoes. And I think of my time that I had in Chicago. Now, my time in Chicago was short-lived, right? But I went through a laundry list of, let's just call it, I don't want to swear, even give the pronunciation of swearing, but I went through a laundry list of crap in Chicago, okay? Stuff that a player probably shouldn't have to go through. Now, whether that's with my defensive line coach, who it is what it is, or that's getting cut in twice in one day because they made a mistake.
Stuff that wasn't handled well.
Well. Now, where I was at the time, and keep in mind, I mean, I didn't play one game in Chicago, but when I got cut, the final cut day, I got let go. They called me up and said, we made a mistake. You're on the team. And then they cut me again. So twice in one day. Obviously, I'm frustrated. Obviously, I'm fuming. I could have went on Twitter and said something. And you know what? If I had another job opportunity right there, I probably would have. I probably would have said, you know what? The GM of the Chicago Bears, they're in trouble. And guess what? Well, they were in trouble because they sucked that year. And I probably would have said, you know what? The defensive line coach wasn't a fan of him. Well, guess what? He's not there anymore. So with that being said, I probably would have dropped a couple jabs. I probably would have threw a couple haymakers at the organization because at that time, during my emotion, I was that ticked off.
Yeah.
But I had to keep myself in check. And it's funny because I even had to do an article for Sports Illustrated where I had to write about getting cut by the Bears too. All I put was, they're a great organization. I wish them nothing but the best. Yeah. It was the most cliche run-of-the-mill statement of all time because I knew that if I wasn't going to be a good soldier and if I really expressed my true feelings, I would never get another shot in the NFL because a team would see that and be like, well, this guy's on the back nine of his career anyways. Why should we bring him in when he's ripping the organization? So I had to lie and say, my time in Chicago was fine. It was not fine. It was BS. So when you have guys like Ronnie Harrison, when you have guys like Leonard Fournette who their jobs are safe, right? Like the Cleveland Browns traded for Ronnie Harrison. So right now where he's sitting, he's sleeping good at night knowing regardless of how good of a team he's going to be on, he's got a job tomorrow. Same thing with Leonard Fournette. That job security can give you a lot of things. And one of the things is obviously confidence and the ability to say what's really on your mind. I think a lot of players, if they had the opportunity, would say what they truly feel about their NFL teams, but they can't afford to do so because teams are always watching that. And if you're on the back nine of your career or if you're a fringe roster guy, you can't afford saying that.
Yeah, that's a fair point, right? I mean, it's not probably just Jacksonville, even though people seem to be freewheeling and kind of piling on in a sense when it comes to Jacksonville from a player standpoint who are exiting. By the way, I put a bunch of culpability on the organization. I'm not taking them off it. This was a point strictly about players. The Jags have created this atmosphere. In whose fault, we still wonder. Who's the blame game on? We still wonder. They've created this atmosphere. So that's a fair point. I'm not getting away from that point. I just feel like some of the players, it's like, man, like I put on my tweet, it just shows a little bit of immaturity, kind of who these guys are. Is it just today's athlete? Is it social media world where they have an outlet to do so? I guess the last part of it would be this. Going to say something. Well, then can you give us some specifics? If you're willing to put it out there that they're so bad, then give us an example. Why can't you do that? I mean, the one thing is Leonard just he gave an example. 3 of them. Bortles, Minshew, and Foles. Basically called them out, said they suck.
It seems like even from his college career, though. I remember watching him in college. I remember when they played the Badgers.
No.
I forgot who the guy. I remember when they played the Wisconsin Badgers way back, and it was just like, man, that guy's got zero quarterback help. So, I feel like he's been there a lot. Maybe that's frustration, though.
Absolutely. Like Allen Robinson could have said that, right? He certainly could have said that.
Still say that, though, Allen Robinson.
He could. And by the way, we've had A-Rob on a couple of times, and he could have thrown a lot of the organization under the bus, and he didn't necessarily throw him under the bus. He just said, he actually took more of a high road in it. Even though he had reason to beef. Why didn't you give me more money? Why didn't you believe in me? And when we've had him on, he said there's just so much change there. That's why I'm in a better place. There was just so much change. Well, I guess my point is if you're going to be freewheeling and call people out, give me an example. Like Ronnie, why? Why? What was it so bad? The fans stink? Was it Coughlin? Was it Shad Khan, Tony? Who was it? I just don't understand. If you're going to pony up on like that on social media, why can't you give us an example? What the heck? I mean, the bridge is already burnt.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Well, the bridges are burnt from maybe the organization, maybe not the guys in that locker room, though. Right? I mean, yeah, one could say maybe Leonard Fournette burned the quarterback bridge a little bit, but I mean, I don't know the relationship between Leonard Fournette and Gardner Minshew. I thought they were okay. Maybe not. Who knows? It is what it is. I mean, I think with Ronnie Harrison, I mean, maybe he could say some stuff about some teammates that got paid before, whatever. I mean, but then you start sounding petty, you know, and then you start bringing money into it and you bring in personal stuff into it, and that's probably not the way to go about things. Argue the way to go about things is going to a new team and being quiet. He didn't do that. It is what it is there. But I just think that when you get too detailed, Brett, in these explanations, then you can start turning back on some of your former teammates.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. You just kind of like to see these guys take the high road, or I'd like to see the organization tell me why they got rid of him. Because we know from a football standpoint, Leonard didn't make a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. So give me more reasons.
Yeah.
But they're never going to do that. They're not going to go bury a guy under the bus and tell you why exactly that happened. So it leaves a lot of gray area right now on the last couple of releases. Ronnie Harrison, what went wrong other than play? I'm still not convinced it's just they beat him out. Mm-hmm. How do we know? How do we know safety beat? How do we know this James Robinson is the best running back? You haven't even played a game. Mm-hmm. And in practice, you can't tell by those two. Strong safety is a hard position to see in practice. Running back's a hard. So there's more to it.
Sure.
But the organization's not going to say it. On the way out the door, though, the players certainly didn't mind saying it.
Yeah, and listen, once again, I'm going to reiterate myself here a little bit. You don't see a lot of undrafted free agents that got released saying anything. Right, the guys that are talking are the guys that were drafted in the mid rounds to high rounds that got traded or dealt away, whatever you want to call it. And those are the guys that are talking. One could think that if an undrafted free agent had another opportunity someplace, and who knows if they will or not, if they would say something.
Yeah,
you know, but
good point.
And once again, like, listen, there's a lot of bad optics around this team. I mean, I'm stating the obvious right there. How much this does for a team when Leonard Fournette says that stuff, Ronnie Harrison, I mean, it's just piling on at this point. But I'm going to say this, Brent, you know, and this is going to disagree with you a little bit. I understand it falls on the players, and this is a new modern era NFL athlete, and they always got to say what's on their mind and yada, yada, yada. Who are you to say that? And yada, yada, yada. I get that part. But at the same time, once again, and I'll reiterate myself, like Minkah Fitzpatrick you mentioned, right? Well, his gripe was the fact that they asked him to play strong safety. Wasn't his position, right? Didn't want to do that. So he's like, well, then get me out of here. Okay, now maybe there were some problems in the locker room. Maybe the coaching staff had their own issues. It is what it is there.
Yeah, they felt like they were tanking there
exactly.
At the time.
But he was asked to play out of position, right? Ronnie Harrison was never asked to play free safety. Leonard Fournette was never really asked to
play wide receiver
or fullback, if you will. By the way, they kept a fullback. You see that?
Yes,
interesting. So it's just, I don't want to. Listen, I'm tired of ripping this organization, okay? And I'm tired of saying they're set up for failure and all this stuff. I just don't want to add to it now where it's like, well, these players are speaking out against us. What does this mean? I don't know what it means, okay? All I know is that it doesn't look good from either side. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Again, I'm not trying to rescue the organization here. They probably could care less in all this. They have plenty of culpability. They've earned a lot of it. They really have. They've earned the bad vibes. They have to find a way now to change it around.
Let me ask you this, though. Does some of this fall on the organization to maybe explain why, like, they're going in this direction? Like they said, the scheme thing, Leonard Fournette. We can see that was a lie. We all know that. The Ronnie Harrison thing. He got beat out by a drafted
Daniel Thomas and Jones.
Who's a fifth-round pick out of Auburn. Okay? Well, once again, how much have you seen of him in this COVID-19 setup here with practice? Probably not that much. So what are we missing? Because we as the media know you're not telling us the whole story. So why not just tell us the whole story? I mean, wouldn't that kind of save face a little bit if you told us, listen, we have a new direction, the kind of players that we want to go with, and these players don't fit that mold? That's all you got to say.
Yeah, the explanation I got from some is that because if you share that part of the story or any other part of the story or reasoning, then you have to continually answer the questions. If you just say, hey, this is it, we're moving on, then the story's done, at least from them. I told you last week on Fournette, I don't understand why you couldn't just say, hey, listen, good player, man. Bill, very productive. Look at 1,000 yards here, 1,000 yards here, 14 touchdowns. There were just some things that didn't mesh. along with some of the football stuff, we're trying to go in a little bit different philosophy here. We think there are some better fits, young talent. Like, I don't see why you couldn't say some of that to at least alleviate the truth and non-truth. you know, because you can't sit here and tell me it's football decisions when we didn't have preseason games and I'm supposed to believe it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe you're right, but I can't believe it until I see James Robinson go out there and run for 120 yards in the first couple of games of the year. And that's what they're banking on now.
By the way, I got the 4-1 on James Robinson, too, so don't worry about that.
Good. Let's talk about it.
I have a detailed explanation about him.
This is like the third show in a row we've been way over the first break. So bonus 20 minutes
Brent.
to start.
People are emotional right now, man.
I got the pail.
Hey.
I almost called it the fail pail.
Why didn't you do that?
I've left a little room in case
Jags
it's right
fail
there.
pail?
Jags fail pail.
I like that, man. Oh, that's quite the knick-knack you got there.
We had a pail in college called the jail pail.
What was that for?
For anybody that got arrested.
Oh, I like that little donation here at every single party. I like that.
Come on, man. You went to Flagler. How many people got arrested at Flagler?
Well, he wasn't going to class, so who knows what was going on there.
Got arrested for plagiarism. When we come back, we take a look at that roster. James Robinson on the top of the depth chart, running back. Tyler Reifert not on top of the depth chart. Adam Gotsis, who joined us a couple weeks ago, on top. What does it mean? What do the Jags look like? I mean, now that you see it on paper, does it look worse? Do you almost feel worse? It's a game week. It's a fight week.
Get excited, man. Let's go.
We're fired up. Hope you had a good weekend. We're back on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Keep the umbrella nearby with on and off showers and a few thunderstorms today, mixed in with some sun, highs in the upper 80s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Hurry! It's the last time you'll get 5 years, 0 interest this year.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence. Or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Let's take a minute and talk about your health, your good health. We can't take it for granted, and CGC Water would like to help. It's important to have clean, purified water in your home for your good health. CGC offers no contact sales and service appointments, and they've taken all the necessary precautions while in your home. Kinetico systems from CGC Water remove up to 99% of the contaminants. Now that's taking care of your health. This month, get 50% off a K5 reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. No more filling the landfills with plastic from expensive bottled water. Instead, fill up on cleaner, safer water from CGC Water. We love it at our house. You can have it at your house. Get the peace of mind knowing your family is drinking great tasting, purified, safe water. Kinetico features Premier Softeners, non-electric, twin tanks that are super efficient. Salt. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer, servicing North Florida and Southeast Georgia. No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at Enfield's Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
It's always smart to shop at Diamonds Direct, but right now it's smarter than ever with 5 years, 0 interest financing and no money down on any purchase. No kidding, it's the best ever. Keep your money and finance the entire purchase, even the tax, for 5 years without paying a dime in interest. Get a $10,000 certified diamond for only $168 a month. I'm telling you, this makes fine jewelry more affordable than ever. It's definitely the smart way to buy. On approved credit, diamondsdirect.com.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Are you ready for a new ride? Then your wait is over. It's the Today's the Day sales event, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Today's the day for you to drive away from Arlington one really happy customer in your brand new Toyota. That's because you'll get 0% for 60 months on all new 2020 Camrys, Corollas, and RAV4s. 0%. How about getting a new Toyota Plus, no payments for 90 days? Today's the day, because that's exactly what you'll get at Arlington. And did I mention 2 years of free maintenance? Yes. Today's the day you get your new Toyota at Arlington, plus 2 years of free maintenance. And with every new vehicle purchase from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind, thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Today is most definitely the day to get the Toyota you really want at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. Today is the day for full details.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine is a fully accredited, tuition-free state public school that gives children an edge for a lifetime of success. FSDB is nationally recognized for its educational services designed for students' unique communication and accessibility needs. Eligible pre-K and kindergarten through 12th grade students benefit from small class sizes, advanced technology, and various recreation, extracurricular, and performing arts activities. Transportation and boarding services are free to any eligible deaf or blind student, kindergarten through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. My name is Trent Ferguson, and I'm a proud graduate of this wonderful school. This place changes lives. To learn more information or to apply for enrollment, call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org.
Let's take a minute and talk about your health, your good health. We can't take it for granted, and CGC Water would like to help. It's important to have clean, purified water in your home for your good health. CGC offers no contact sales and service appointments, and they've taken all the necessary precautions while in your home. Kinetico systems from CGC Water remove up to 99% of the contaminants. Now that's taking care of your health. This month, get 50% off a K5 reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. No more filling the landfills with plastic from expensive bottled water. Instead, fill up on cleaner, safer water from CGC Water. We love it at our house. You can have it at your house. Get the peace of mind knowing your family is drinking great tasting, purified, safe water. Kinetico features Premier Softeners, non-electric, twin tanks that are super efficient and use less salt. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer, servicing North Florida and Southeast Georgia.
Been dreaming of Subway tile and butcher block counters? Outdoor kitchens and pavers?
Oh, honey.
The weather's great and it's time to knock out those nagging home projects with a Honeydew HELOC from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Borrow up to 90% loan to value and pay no costs. Best of all, we'll give you a free wheelbarrow. That's right, a free wheelbarrow. Apply today at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Just please, no more shiplap.
The economic difficulties caused by the current pandemic is affecting the survival of local small businesses. Many have had to close or greatly reduce operations. How well prepared are you to gear back up once conditions begin to improve? Will there be enough working capital to do so? Take advantage of this time to participate in a SCORE webinar or meet virtually with a counselor to get some ideas on developing a business recovery strategy. Register for a webinar or schedule a confidential mentoring session at jacksonville.score.org.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home or just steering clear of coworkers, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jax on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
This is an email. Why is WWE Wrestling not being shown on Friday night?
Austin Lane.
Thank you very much. Read it right now. This
I just did. Why is WWE? That's it. That's why I thought. I don't know. I mean, Roman's only 5. I don't know how many sentences he can make. Smart kid.
Somebody might have proofread it for him.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
think about a couple months ago, the anxiety of not knowing what was going to happen or occur, to be here in week one, getting ourselves ready to go and feeling, obviously confident that we'll be able to play, really an amazing feat. And I think that there are still things that, we're all working through, from a testing protocol standpoint, which we'll obviously during the week continue to do that. Obviously work out, through the days off what we want to do. But, there's a high confidence level in everyone right now. I don't know if I would have been able to say that earlier in the year before training camp started. But I think it's built up. There's just a lot of people to give credit to, that are behind the scenes that don't really get it. Giving us this opportunity where we can go out there and play.
They are going to play. We're almost there. 5 days away, a couple of days away from the start of the NFL season, which is remarkable. 4 days away or so from Florida State playing right here on ESPN 690 against Georgia Tech on Saturday, although I think there were a lot of positive COVID numbers out of Tallahassee on campus, not necessarily with the football team, reported this week.
Those house parties, Brent, they're going to get you.
Sunday, it's Jags-Colts right here. And expectations have never been lower. I mean, that's it. Yet I'm still excited. Mm-hmm. Are you excited? I mean, are you excited to see kind of what this is?
It's football, Brent. Are you excited, man? Come on.
I'm excited, but I mean, seriously speaking, let's weigh the temperature of the room in the city.
Yeah.
How many people are flipping on CBS 47, hopefully at 11:30, by the way, for Countdown to Kickoff, but at 1 o'clock especially. And they're like this. Like the opening kickoff, they have their hands over.
Yeah.
They have their hands over their face, but they're kind of peeking. Like, I mean, this is like real life horror movie kind of sitting on the couch stuff.
Do you have
seriously, don't you get the idea that that's how people are going to watch that first game for the Jags? Like, I don't know if I want to see exactly how this plays out.
Yeah, man, like watching a car accident, right? Like, you can't look away, but it's like, no, I get what you're saying.
Ratings will be high just because of that.
Yeah.
It's like at Daytona.
What else is there?
Well, keep in mind, see, it's a good point because keep in mind, like last year, right? Like I think expectations last year, obviously they're higher than 6-10. I think we both agreed on that.
Foles had come in.
Exactly, Foles had come in. Now we saw the preseason a little bit. We saw some okay things.
We didn't get a lot of
some good things.
A lot of play in the preseason.
But I'm also saying like, hey, we saw football though, right? Like, all right, the Jaguars are back preseason football. Gardner Minshew's helmet went flying in Baltimore. It's like not sure about that guy. Good luck to him. Well, never mind. He's here. He's our starting quarterback now. Congratulations. So at least last year you had the preseason as kind of a little appetizer, right? You get to prime the pump a little bit. Brent, there is no priming the pump for this season, right? There is no like, you got to choke a lawnmower sometimes. You got fueled up. You know what I'm saying? You grew up in the Midwest. You grew up in the East Coast, but you know what I'm talking about. All those Midwest people out there.
Don't flood it.
Don't flood it. So right now, we're just going to dry on it, man. We're not going to choke it. We're not going to prime the pump. We're just going to we're just going to turn on that lawnmower and hope it doesn't break down. And that's where we're at right now.
It's amazing. I mean, think about it. Like, even think about 17 when things went well. Nobody expected. I'll never forget it because we were covering the hurricane at that time. And I remember going over to somebody's house. Chris Morgan, we were doing a story. His backyard was like flooding because of the hurricane. Yeah. Lives on the river. The river was coming in. But it also, like, we went inside and dried off.
Yeah.
And the game was on. Because we're actually covering the hurricane and the football game at the same time. And the Jags just scorched Houston. And they had 10 sacks. And Dante's returning the phone, and you're like, that's not what I expected when I turned this thing on. Right?
Yeah.
Well, you really don't know what to expect in week season every time. There's a lot of crazy things that can happen. Like, it's a bad week to bet.
Oh, yeah,
is week 1.
How do you know?
Well, this might be the worst week to bet in the history of betting.
Yep.
Because I don't know what to expect. The Jags have played the Colts very well over the years. Does that trend continue? Phillip Rivers has killed the Jaguars in his career. Does that trend continue? The Colts are better, flat out better. 7.5-point favorites. They could absolutely steamroll a team that has like no defensive line, and their forte is running the football with their good offensive line. Yeah, it's just not the way the NFL works sometimes. It's not the way sports, it's like that little bit of hope of that's not how sports works. It's not that predictable is what we're going to tune in to see on Sunday, and we have no idea. Will Gardner Minshew show off the moxie that we think he has? Who in the world is James Robinson? Who is James Robinson? I mean, we are Googling half this football team.
Yep.
We have no idea. And we're about to find out in the first few weeks of the season if they made right moves, bad moves, smarter moves than anybody anticipated.
Yeah.
We might have fallen. My point of this is we might have fallen in love with James Robinson if we saw a few preseason games.
Without a doubt.
Right?
It would be like Austin Eckler all over again. Right?
The only guy we've been able to fall in love with from practice fields or anything else is Colin Johnson.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
Like Colin Johnson.
Because we've seen that.
We have seen him make plays. Like, that's it.
Well, and that's how we operate as football, whether it's in the media or just as fans in general, Brent, is like we've seen Colin Johnson. We've seen the clips on Facebook and Twitter. It's like that guy's earned his spot, obviously. Like the guy is, 6'6", has some pretty good footwork. Like that's a guy going forward where you're excited about. All due respect to James Robinson because it's not his fault. But can we sit here and say right now James Robinson has earned his spot? Now, maybe the Jaguars will tell us that, but I'm saying fans, media, can we sit here and honestly say, I'll tell you what, man, that James Robinson kid, that kid out of Illinois State, undrafted? Or was he undrafted or not? Or did they draft him late in the round?
No, he's undrafted.
Undrafted, yeah. Undrafted out of Illinois State. This kid's earned it, man. Like, it makes sense.
Dude, I can't tell you.
We can't say
anything other than what I looked up today.
Exactly.
James Robinson.
And listen.
And people will be out there practicing say, look good. Again, running backs don't
How
look
do you know,
good
man?
in practice.
You know
it doesn't matter.
I thought Leonard Fournette looked good. I mean, he was swagging. He had the short shorts and everything, the long socks. Now,
I thought I looked good in practice.
You do, man. Don't be so hard on yourself. But listen, you said it yourself, right? You had to look up James Robinson. I had to look up James Robinson. But you know what, Brent? I got your back, man. I put out the bat signal to some coaches out there that have coached against him. Talking about North Dakota State. What's up, the Bison over there in North Dakota State and Fargo, if you will. In case you know this, Brent, by the way, Fargo, North Dakota, it's like the Iowa-Scandinavia pipeline. We've had 4 guys from my high school now coach at North Dakota State.
Really?
And obviously North Dakota State's it's a pretty winning tradition there in terms of FCS schools. Well, North Dakota State played Illinois State twice last year. Once in the regular season, once in the playoffs. And I asked one of my friends who I grew up with, who's now a defensive coach there at North Dakota State, I go, James Robinson, what do you have on him? First thing he tells me is watch his playoff games because he made his money and he put a name on the map for himself in the playoff game. So went back a little bit, saw some highlights. Check this out. In the first 2 playoff games, Brent, rushed 78 times for 507 yards. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
Now, against North Dakota State, had a little more trouble, but they lost North Dakota State 9-3. Very close game. And the only reason why North Dakota State won, and I quote, is because we had 11 guys that were willing to tackle James Robinson. Apparently, James Robinson is very deceptive because he is very big. All right, he's kind of like, hearing my friend talk about James Robinson, it reminded me a lot of Leonard Fournette a little bit. So James Robinson, and this is according to the coach of North Dakota State, fantastic in the hole, has great vision. He's got great footwork, very deceiving footwork, where he can make you miss and he can run over you. Now, the top end speed may not quite be there, but as far as like the quickness of hitting the second hole, he's there all day. So you have to bring people around to tackle him because he's going to run with bad intentions every single time. So with that being said, once again, now, how much can you say it's North Dakota State? They're a pretty storied, program in the FCS ranks. How that translates, obviously, to the NFL, it's going to be a giant difference. But at least I'm a little intrigued from the fact that this guy seems to be a guy that likes to run with bad intentions, like Leonard Fournette. He's got good vision. I guess that's what you want to hear out of your starting running back?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
But you talk about he is the ultimate, what can we expect in week 1? We have really no idea what to expect from this guy. So we're on the hype train right now. We're like, all right, I'm going to go find North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Go find me something that looks good for James Robinson. What are they seeing? Like, is he really, he gave you the idea to just cut bait with Leonard Fournette? Mm-hmm. This is the guy that pushed Leonard Fournette out. This is the reason you felt okay doing it? Mm-hmm. From a football standpoint, that's what you've told us. So now let's see it play out on Sunday. Well, you say Leonard Fournette. Who I say is, watching some of his high school tape and other tape, watch me watching tape. By the way, I do not say that a lot, but I did see some highlights. This is not me breaking down tape. I'm not one of those guys. I hate when us radio people do that, especially that don't know and pretend to know, but that's not me. But when I'm watching him and I look at his size and his figure and his legs, it reminds me of Maurice Jones-Drew in terms of style.
Sure.
Again, I'm not saying he's going to be Maurice Jones-Drew. But so then I call up Maurice Jones. You can't be right on that. It's probably something different measurable wise. And so Maurice is like almost 5'7". Mm-hmm. James Robinson's 5'9". 219 pounds, I think he's listed at. Maurice was around 208. Mm-hmm. So I give a couple inches, give 10 pounds. That makes some sense. What's interesting is you say, well, Brett, he's not as fast as Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're right. Maurice are in a sub-4, 440. This guy's a 4.64 guy. He's not a speedy guy.
But he's quick, though.
Quick, yeah. But not breakaway fast.
Not breakaway speed, correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
So there's a big difference. But I want to share with you a couple of other measurable things, and you tell me if they matter, okay? Yeah. 20-yard shuttle. Mm-hmm. Maurice Jones-Drew, 4.41 seconds. James Robinson, 4.19. Mm-hmm. James Robinson, 4.19. Maurice, 4.41. Mm-hmm. Three-cone drill, 7.03 to 7.06 for Maurice.
Okay.
So about the same.
Yep.
Vertical jump, 36 for Maurice, 40 for James.
So I bet his broad jump's going to be off the charts.
Broad jump,
10.5
broad jump. Maurice was 9'8".
So here we go.
All right, one more thing. Yeah. And then just from a strength standpoint, 24 reps on the bench press for James.
That's fantastic.
18 for Mojo, which is good for a running back, by the way.
Dude, anything over 15, strong. Like, you're happy with that.
So as I look at these numbers from the combine and from some of these splits, you say, well, okay, well, he doesn't have the speed Mojo has. And I'm not saying he's going to be Maurice Jones-Drew. But if you look at these 20-yard shuttle, the three-cone drill, which a lot of people think that shuttle and three-cone drill are more evident of who and what you are as an athlete. Mm-hmm. He's better than Mojo in those. Bigger vertical jump, bigger broad jump. And we already know Mojo's a tremendous athlete. What it shows me is James Robinson's one heck of an athlete.
Yeah. So more specifically, in terms of that broad jump, in terms of that three-cone, in terms of that, like I said, if you put that three-cone together with that vertical, you better have a big broad jump, and he does. So what does that tell me? It tells me that he's extremely explosive, okay? And this kind of checks out to what I've been hearing about him from coaches, where this guy in the hole will run over you, okay? Now, once again, he has some quickness to him. Now, is he going to have that 99-yard run like a Derrick Henry? Probably not. But he can get you those first downs. And I think when you have that explosiveness, right now, keep in mind, you have to know how to use it. You have to be patient. You have to recognize we've heard he has great vision. I think, was it Doug Marrone said he has the best vision on the team, or who? No, Chris Thompson said he had the best vision on the team. If you have that
By the
vision,
way, a huge knock against Leonard Fournette has been the vision.
If you have that vision, and you can combine that with that elusiveness and that decisiveness and that explosiveness, well, now you have something special. Now, once again, let's keep in mind, we haven't seen this guy play in a game yet. All right, and all we're going off of right now is combine numbers, okay? But I'm just saying what the combine numbers say and what the coaches that coached against him say, it all kind of checks out. Now, whether that's going to translate to being successful in the NFL or not, that remains to be seen. But at least if you're a Jaguars fan right now and you hear us talking about it, I mean, hopefully you're a little more intrigued than before you listen to the show today. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by him because I want to see what they see. They're not just going to roll a guy out there, right? They could have gone to Zigbo. They like the Zigbo. They talked him up a little bit. Obviously, Armstead's on the COVID-19 list, so maybe if they wanted to go that, he's had a tough August in general, been on that list twice, and also has had some injury issues as well. But it's almost like they were hiding James Robinson, right? I mean, Cottrell, who they signed, I think, back to the practice squad, he had some nice moments. I had a little buzz about Cottrell out of Georgia Tech. But James Robinson, again, I mean, if you hear enough, if you talk enough, if you listen enough, then you're going to hear his name mentioned. But still, this is a guy he felt like, will he make the team or not? Will he start or not on opening week? And they are rolling him out there. It looks like, at least according to the depth chart. And they could still make surprisures. I mean,
it could be by committee too, right? You still have Chris Thompson, you still have Zigbo, so keep that in mind.
We'll see how much he plays. Yeah. But he's one of the most fascinating parts of opening weekend for the Jacksonville Jaguars. At least on I kind of can't wait to see what this guy does. Mm-hmm. Do we see? And I'm not sitting here saying, well, if he doesn't roll out there and carry it 18 times for 110 yards, well, then he stinks. Mm-hmm. No, that's not really it. Where's the flash? Where do you see what they see? Does this guy have something that you're like, okay, I can buy into that? Because let's be honest, that's what this team is. This team has 16 rookies. This team has, I think, 24 guys is the number of people have been floating out there, first and second year players. There are a lot of guys on this team that we don't know a whole heck of a lot about. And quite frankly, they don't know a whole heck of a lot about how they're going to perform under the lights of the NFL on Sundays.
Yeah, we have to ask ourselves this question too here, Brent, right? Where when you had Leonard Fournette, and at least I thought that when you have Leonard Fournette on your team, like that at least commands attention from defensive coordinators, right? Like when you go on the board a little bit, it says that we got to stop Leonard Fournette. Yeah, sure, we have to stop Minshew and DJ Chark, but our first job is probably stop Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette's gone now. And you have this guy by the name of James Robinson. Does this put Gardner Minshew at more of a disadvantage now because teams are going to be game planning probably for Minshew a lot more than like, listen, let's be honest right now. An undrafted free agent out of Illinois State isn't really going to scare defensive coordinators until they see something out of him, right? So with that being said, does Minshew have more pressure on him now just from the standpoint of teams are going to be game planning for Minshew, not James Robinson?
Yeah, I kind of thought they'd be game planning for him, knowing what we predict and think about Jay Gruden's offense anyway, and that the offense is going to run through him a little bit more. You know me, when you think about this offense, if I was going to game plan, if I'm a defense coming in, I'm trying to keep Gardner Minshew between the tackles. It's as simple as that. I say if we can keep him there, make him beat us from there. And that's what you do, by the way, with a lot of guys that like to run. And Minshew isn't necessarily a running quarterback. He can throw the ball from the pocket. But I think they don't want to be beat on the extra plays, the bonus play, where he was very good last year, that off-schedule play. So that, to me, is really all I think the defense is doing. They're going to put a lot of emphasis on DJ Chark. They're going to say, let's keep Minshew right here, and we'll deal with the rest because we're not afraid of much more. That's plain and simple. That's the way it looks. I did say I just hyped James Robinson up to be the next MJD. Sorry, Mojo. And Maurice responded, stop tagging me. Laugh out loud. I hope he's better than me, but it's hard to tell with just practices under his belt. Hey, Mojo.
Take the hint, Brent.
Mojo, you know you're getting older, buddy, when we start tagging you that he might be the next Maurice Jones-Drew. Anyway, have a little fun with that. We'll see, man. I'm excited to see James Robinson just because I don't know a heck of a lot about him. And you found some interesting information out from the folks at North Dakota State. Steven's on the line. They've been hanging a bit. Let's get to him. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. What's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. Hope you had a good weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching my daughter for 2 days in a row, taking off from work. But anyways, I had my question about James Robinson. I mean, Austin hit most of it, but, I mean, I have a lot of faith in him. I know translating to NFL is a big, huge change. But, I mean, you got a 9,000 yards in high school career, just shy of 4,500 in college. So you can rely on him to be called on. But this is the one thing that kind of scares me is if he performs at that high level and translates well, you know, has 5 to 6 games, 100-plus yards, you know we're kind of going to have to give a little credit to Caldwell and Marone. And that worries me.
Steve, thanks for the call, Steven. You know, I mean, you know they're going to be wrong about guys on this roster. That's just the way it is. Yeah. And so they're going to get a lot of heat for some of the moves they've made. They better have some victories in there, too.
Yeah, if they have victories. Yeah. I guess, to me, what's more impressive, Brent? The guy that you find, like, in a third round that becomes a starter and maybe a team staple, or the guy that you find in an undrafted free agency that becomes, you know, maybe a household name in Jacksonville for a couple years.
Yeah, well, here's the thing I've found over the years. See, Dave Caldwell actually has had some of those middle-round guys and some finds along the way. You don't get credit for them.
Yeah.
If you miss on the early guys. It is most important for, if you're just talking from a front office point of view, for this franchise right now to get C.J. Henderson and Caleb on Chase on right.
Yeah.
Chenault would help. But to be honest with you, if you missed on the other 9, now, people would bring that up because everybody brings up the negative stuff. But the way this team has been, the way this franchise has been, the misses in the early rounds have been debilitating. And they have paralyzed the organization, quite frankly, for a decade. And so if they can get those 2 picks in the first round correct, and they get Chenault, and because they had 12 picks, they're going to get a couple of other ones right, most likely. Yeah. Law of averages says. That is most important. Now, from a scouting perspective, I think it's always nice to find that needle in a haystack undrafted guy. Nice to find that 5th, 6th round guy. I mean, Gardner Minshew could pay off handsomely for this organization if that is correct and he plays really well. So those are important. You have to hit on them. I just say from the fan base here in Jacksonville, you don't get credit for it. You need to start getting credit for the guys that you drafted early because you've really stunk at that, quite frankly, for a long time.
Yeah.
To me, that's paramount.
Yeah.
I think you've run out of time to change the fans' minds. Like,
sure.
You're not going to get credit for a little bit here or there. I mean, you've run out of time for that.
Yeah.
Like, there's no equity built with the fan base. But the bottom line is, if you're going to be here, you might as well get those early picks right because you haven't done so great on them in the past.
Exactly. And to me, the early picks will always outweigh, obviously, those undrafted picks, right? Like, yeah, that's great that you got Allen Hurns. It's great that if James Robinson, becomes a star. But at the same time, if they're really that good, then why don't you draft them earlier? Like, if your personnel thought, these guys are going to be special, then you draft them earlier. It's kind of the Gardner Minshew effect a little bit, right?
Yeah. Like, why didn't they pick Luke Barku in the 6th round or 7th round? Like, they knew they wanted to keep him on the team.
Yeah.
They had 12 picks, man.
I know.
That does confuse me sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you take him then?
Yeah. But you know what, Brent? And I quote, because it's a crapshoot past the 5th round. When the 5th round starts, it's a crapshoot.
And it very much is. So is this show. 4 o'clock hour coming back on ESPN 690.
Hey, what's up, Saw? It's the land of action sports, Jax on ESPN 690. If you didn't catch today's episode, I'm not mad at you, not even disappointed, but check out what you missed. If I want to be taken out by a hurricane, I want to be taken out by the biggest, most intimidating hurricane, and that's Bertha. You're not going to say, whoa, here comes Bertha dating Tom Brady. You're going to say, well, there's Bertha at the Golden Corral line pushing people out of the way to get a second helping. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but that's probably been used in a sentence before. Check out our podcast on all platforms. Just search ESPN 690. Subscribe to our podcast. Thanks.
I never knew my home would become my workplace. I never dreamed it would be my child's school. And I never imagined my home would be under attack from an invisible enemy called COVID-19. This is why I trust SafeTouch Security. It's one app that puts me in control. My SafeTouch system allows me to control who's on my property, movement while the kids are at home learning their school lessons, who I speak with without even opening the front door, as well as home deliveries, my heating and air conditioning, door locks, and complete protection against the threats of fire, burglary, and assault. You can even have control over your car. Know you are safe with the most up-to-date security system from SafeTouch. SafeTouch Security has been doing what others can't for over 35 years. Reliable local monitoring. No other company comes close to SafeTouch's track record on guaranteed response times. Go to safetouch.com and find out how you can get zero down and free equipment with a lifetime warranty. That's safetouch.com. State license number EF0000233.
Internal Revenue Service. When you owe a personal or business tax debt and can't pay, just hearing those 3 words brings feelings of fear and anxiety. I'm Jonathan David Suryash, Managing Tax Attorney at J. David Tax Law. Everyone knows that if you owe the IRS and don't pay, it's only a matter of time before tax liens, wage garnishments, or bank levies happen to you. The first step to resolution is our no-cost consultation. We take the time to go through your specific tax problem step by step. We explain exactly what your options are and how we will resolve your tax issue. J. David Tax Law is a local firm right here in Jacksonville, where only an experienced tax attorney will represent you. Our fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. If you have tax problems, call us now for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777, or find us on the web at jdavidtaxlaw.com. That's jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Sometimes you go to a place and you just feel at home. That's the way it is at the golf course at Southampton, and you can make it your home course. Membership program starting at just $79. The brand new practice facility has been a huge hit. It's a fun course, player-friendly course, so get your buddies, your friends, go play some golf and have some fun at the golf club at Southampton. It's the home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 golf tournament, and it can be your home course as well. For information on memberships, call 904-287-PLAY. That's 904-287-PLAY.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? Call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed, or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men, if Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's Medical Center for a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians. Call 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105.
The ride you want, the savings you need. Oh, and when it comes to credit approval, almost everyone gets approved. Sounds like it's time to get it all and get to Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. Finding the best ride starts with big-time selection. And at Arlington Toyota, you'll find over 750 new and pre-owned on the lot every day. Right now at Arlington, shop over 100 quality pre-owned cars to buy at $0 down and just $199 a month. Looking for a truck or SUV? Arlington's got 50 quality pre-owned trucks and SUVs to buy at $0 down and $269 a month. With Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. Now, when I say get it all at Arlington, I mean it, because you'll get a 30-day exchange policy with your purchase. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Just another way that Arlington goes the extra mile for you. Get it all when you shop pre-owned at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract, full coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We've got you. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too. And if it's time for a new battery, we've got you covered. We're the only place you can find Duralast, the batteries more consumers choose. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination, where help is always in stock. Claims based on a proprietary consumer study and data from the MPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
See, right now, the Bucs staring at elimination for the second straight game. Not yet sure if they'll have the reigning NBA MVP for Game 5 against the Heat tonight. Giannis Antetokounmpo listed as questionable with a sprained right ankle. Lakers-Rockets resume their series in Game 3 tonight. Rockets confident Russell Westbrook will bounce back from his performance in the Game 2 loss. There are a few things Westbrook can do to bounce back, according to former NBA coach David Fizdale.
You really want him to simplify. You want him to take his opportunities when they're there in front of him. Obviously, he needs to play a lot more slow to fast so he can see the game developing and see where everyone is at on the floor. You want to get shots on goal, so even if that's a bad shot from Russell, that's better than a turnover going the other way. So you're telling them to continue to be aggressive.
Game 3, 8:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. NFL, a new deal for Cardinals receiver DeAndre Hopkins. He and the team agreed on a 2-year, $54.5 million extension, $42.5 million guaranteed. He's tied to Arizona through the 2024 season. The Browns agreed on a 2-year, $13 million extension with running back Kareem Hunt.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices, every day.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
I just like the communication, you know what I'm saying, with the players. I think when people on the outside are thinking, what does that mean? You know, the talk for the players, the rallying for the players, the team first attitude that you have. I think that, you know, that's exciting because, you know, you feel that there's some years you go in and you're like, okay, if we hit adversity, which way are we going to go? You know, and you really don't know until you hit it. But this team, I feel very confident in handling any type of adversity, and we'll get adversity not just on the field, but off the field. You know, everything you know that's going on, and it'll be, you know, throughout the year. But I feel confident in this football team being able to handle anything that's thrown at them.
That's Doug Moreau. And Daniel Brooks, by the way, says James Robinson earned 1,300 yards after contact last year. He's a beast in FCS. Let's hope he adapts well in the NFL. Trey says, what impact do rookies have week one? He says, will they BBQ or mildew? So will they cook or not is what I'm basically getting at. I think.
I like that.
I thought he misspelled Minshew for mildew.
Yeah, but what's the BBQ part? What's the barbecue part?
I thought barbecue, like on the sideline. I don't know.
I don't know. Derek says Robinson won't be an every down back. Chris Thompson, situational options. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I get that. We understand that. We'll get to what rookies could make an impact right away, which will be they'll need to. I mean, we will get to that. I want to take a look at the depth chart. One quick thing about what Marone just said there. Listen, this is crystal clear that he likes the football team. Yeah. And he did not like the football team the last couple of years. I mean, it's plain as day. Now, that doesn't make you a good football team, but it makes you a coachable football team. The way I view this team is they're a bunch of overachievers. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at James Robinson, for instance. Look at Gardner Minshew. Like, they are overachievers. Now, what that means... Like, they have historically been overachievers.
Okay, I got you. Like, let's give James Robinson at least one game to say he's an overachiever, in terms of what he's
saying. Their makeup
in his career.
Guys with chips on their shoulder, guys that were doubted, guys. You know, that's the makeup of their football team a little bit.
Sure.
Not across the board. I mean, Josh Allen's a stud. People expect it. Caleb Chason's been a stud. Mm-hmm. They have those guys, but they also have these other guys that. Which, by the way, you were that guy, mm-hmm. and you've been around other players. Those guys are usually bought in.
Yep.
They're fun to be around. They're fun to coach.
Oh, thanks, Brent.
Seriously,
go on.
You know what to expect
on about these guys?
Them, right?
Sure.
I tell my kids that all the time. It's one of the most, I think, under-talked about things when it comes to an athlete at any level and coaches is a coach wants to know what to expect. A coach wants to know, like, hey, Brent, I'm rolling you out there, and you know what? I know I'm not getting a 380-foot bomb from you, but I'm going to get good base running, probably solid defense, and you're not going to throw a guy at the plate because your arm sucks, you know. But I know what I'm getting. Like, you can do a little of the small things, right? So if you're a coach, you want to be able to know what to get. One of the problems with this football team in the last 2 years, especially, is they didn't know what the heck they were getting from some of these guys, and that's evident. I mean, look at the roller coaster of performances. Right. And are you going 3-1 against the Patriots after beating the Patriots and Jets and then losing 9 in a row? I mean, who would have thunk it?
See, it's that, Brent, and we talked about this a little bit during the break here, or one of the breaks. So, listen, regardless of what you want to think about Dante Fowler, Jalen Ramsey, Yannick Ngakoue, Leonard Fournette, Ronnie Harrison, they obviously didn't work out here in Jacksonville, what you're trying to do in terms of building the culture or not. Now, how much falls on those players and how much falls on their coaches, I will leave that up for debate. But one thing is clear. Whether it's your scouting department, whether it's the coaches or the GM, when you were doing your due diligence on these players, you obviously didn't do it enough, right? Because they're not here anymore for a reason. So when you're interviewing these guys, when you're asking them the questions and things like that, something was missed. Something didn't check out and you didn't see the details, right? Because those guys are no longer here. At least, I'm going to say this, at least with the smaller school guys, like this guy from Illinois State and James Robinson, there are no, potential red flags. At least I don't feel so. And you can knock Gene Smith all you want, but I think Gene Smith, we talked about this a little bit last week, Brent. Gene Smith, he tried to find the diamond in the rough. Like, that's what Gene Smith was trying to do the whole time. Too much. And I absolutely agree with you. I'll be the first one to agree with you. Now, thanks for drafting me in the 5th round, Gene. Thanks for that signing bonus, Gene. Hey, thanks for that signing bonus, Gene. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I appreciate it. But with that being said,
what kind of diamond was that, actually?
hey, it was like it was like a Claire's diamond thing, like something you get at Claire's from like the earring department, where it's not not the most expensive thing. That's good, but it works.
Yeah,
you can fool some people,
and definitely better than that quarter that you put in the at the supermarket.
Trash, Brent.
And getting that little can, that little package.
What are you getting? A little 10-year-old piece of candy? No, man, you're getting a Claire's earring. So like people think, well, is that a Claire's? Is that like a Zales? I don't know. Looks good. That's what I'm talking about. Regardless of that, though, that's what Gene Smith is trying to do. He was trying to find the diamonds in the rough. But he knew one thing, Brent. Regardless if their diamonds are rough or not, the guys that were coming in from the smaller schools, they had those chips on their shoulders.
Yeah.
That they weren't going to be locker room issues. And I can go back to my draft class. We never had any problems. Who's going to have problems in our draft class? Tyson Alalu, the most humble guy ever. D'Anthony Smith, the most quietest dude ever. Deji Kareem from Southern Illinois. He was just happy to be there. I was happy to be there. So you weren't going to have any problems in terms of the culture building and getting in problems off the field. Now, obviously, my habits at the Jags Beach Bar, maybe I got a little lucky sometimes, but there's never any other problems. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, when we talk about those SEC guys, when we talk about the first round, second round, third round picks, well, they can come with some baggage. So right now what we have with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and James Robinson is a prime example of this. James Robinson is the starting running back right now for your Jacksonville Jaguars, okay? That's an important role. That's an important position. How much time is he going to get? We'll see. But right now, he is the slated starter. The cool thing with James Robinson, at least from Doug Marone's perspective, from Dave Caldwell's perspective, is you never have to worry about the off-the-field issues. You never have to worry about with the culture stuff because James Robinson can't afford to do that. The only reason why James Robinson is where he's at right now is because of the mindset and the chip on his shoulder. He's not going to lose it now.
We had a pretty good conversation off the air last week, which was interesting about I think it was off the air. Sometimes I forget. But
it all blends
to that
together.
point, see what happened was, if we go back to that conversation, I'll just do it in like 2 minutes. But Gene Smith stuff, he found maybe those kind of guys. He was looking too hard for the diamond in the rough, and we know that. And he wasn't very good, and he didn't get enough talented guys. Like, you need talent to win, and the talent comes out of the SEC and the ACC. And for some reason, Gene didn't want to take it. He just didn't want. You know, he liked hard-working lunch pail guys, and
it's going to be the new Mississippi State Bulldog Bell, lunch pail guys. I like it.
And so, but he didn't do it and get enough talented players. This is the NFL, man. Yeah. This is like the best of the best.
Yep.
You can't win with a bunch of guys that work hard and have chips on their shoulders. You need guys that are freaks.
Yep.
Well, then Dave Caldwell comes in, and he gets guys at least starting in 15 and 16. He gets the Jalen Ramseys, right? The Miles Jack freak athlete, the Dante Fowler's freak athlete. Mm-hmm. So he gets this talent is boosted, in my opinion, big time. But it comes with a little, I would say, question mark in terms of personality traits. You don't know what they're going to be like. Where I think it went interesting is they took those guys in a Gus Bradley world, right? In a Pete Carroll-esque kind of world. Player coach, kind of a looser atmosphere. Players take the ownership. Mm-hmm. And they tried to then transition to the drill sergeant of Tom Coughlin with those kind of players who they drafted under a Gus Bradley regime.
It's an interesting
I don't know if we've talked about that enough, but they tried to make those kind of players that would fit if Gus had done well and they had won games into a Tom Coughlin way. And sure, did Tom Coughlin have Odell Beckham Jr. and win with some of those? Yeah, at times he did. But I'm talking about a different kind of player that's now going to fit into this 180 kind of world, from Gus to Coughlin to the way they were trying to run things. And that's where it kind of, to me, I don't know if we've talked about it enough, has just fizzled. It blew up. It was like they can't handle it. They could not handle it.
You know, it's a fantastic point. And it's a point that doesn't get really brought up a lot, because I think right now, if you were to take Tom Coughlin and put him on the Seattle Seahawks, how would that team do?
Yeah, even when they were good, right?
They're good. I think back to, because I always say Andy Reid's praises, right? I think Andy Reid was probably the best coach I ever played for. And you, I mean, how many players got to say they love playing for Andy Reid? Like, how could you not love playing for that dude? I was only there for a cup of coffee. I was playing a defensive tackle in a 3-4 defense. It was miserable. But dang, I liked Andy Reid. You know, I wonder that year if I got, you know, let go by Jacksonville, I go to Kansas City, and I know those guys in that locker room and the personalities, those Travis Kelce kind of types. If you throw Tom Coughlin in that mix, what happens? And to be fair, now that you mention it, I think it would implode. I think you would have an absolute nightmare because the style of Andy Reid compared to Tom Coughlin, it's night and day.
Especially when things start going wrong a little bit.
And we always hear, like, Andy Reid has his type of guys, right? Like, when he drafts guys, he has his type of style guys, whether that's, you know, the short, stocky running backs who are great receivers, a certain type of quarterback, or maybe even a certain type of personality, because he believes that no matter who he drafts, he can get along with them, right? So Andy Reid has a luxury. If you throw a guy like Tom Coughlin into the mix, and now all of a sudden it's more like a dictatorship, that can turn a lot of guys off. It's an interesting point.
And so here's the deal. So the Jags get some talent, and now they're trying to go back the other way where you get the guys that are bought in, and they get rid of those crusty guys and personalities. And I'm not saying none of these guys have personalities, and none of them can't be in bad moods, and some of them aren't going to get personal foul penalties, not across the board. But you're trying to change that over a little bit. The challenge is, can you get the James Robinsons of the world and maybe hit on one of those guys? But can you continue to get the Chasons, Josh Allens, hopefully Laviska Shenault, DJ Charks, talent? Yeah. See, and that's where I do feel like this team's differently set up than 13 or 14. I just named you 4 or 5 guys that any team would take. There was hardly a player in 13 that any team would take. There were a couple, but even at the stage of their career, you'd wonder if they would take them. And so that's what feels a little different about the makeup of this roster, in my opinion, is that anybody in the NFL would take Josh Allen right now.
In a heartbeat.
Anybody would probably take Chason. I think anybody would take Miles Jack. I think anybody would, you know, if you say he's going to be healthy, even take a Tyler Reifert type, a DJ Chark type. They would have drafted Laviska Shenault, all 32 teams, somewhere in the next round probably. So you've got those guys. Can you mesh them now with the personality that fits this head coach or that could fit any head coach? Because that transition did not go well from Gus's style to Coughlin and Marone's style, and it blew up. And that's how we got to today, essentially.
Here's why I'm optimistic about that, though, Brent, right? Because you just said it. Can those new guys, can they transition to the coach? I'll be honest with you. To me, it doesn't matter right now because I look at Josh Allen, just got voted captain. Second year in the NFL. Congratulations to him. Obviously, we all saw it coming, but still, it's a fantastic honor, and it says a lot about what Josh Allen brings to that locker room. If you have guys like Josh Allen, who can be a leader in that locker room, if you have guys like DJ Chark, and he wasn't a captain, but I think he's still one of the leaders in the team, obviously. He's got to be a leader going forward. If you have guys like DJ Chark who can be those leaders going forward, then you can afford to bring in maybe some of the rough around the edges guys because you show them how it's done, right? This was the biggest gripe with the Gus Bradley era. I was like, you didn't have enough guys. You didn't have enough pillars to show the young guys how to do it. What did Jalen Ramsey know how to do? Jalen Ramsey came in day one and was the man, okay? Yannick Ngakoue, the same thing. Leonard Fournette, the same thing. Like, there was never really anybody in front of these guys where it's like, hey, this is how we do things here. Like, Ngakoue had Calais Campbell, but it wasn't really the same position. Right? Yeah. Because it was Dante Fowler and Yannick Ngakoue.
Well, he did have, but Yannick wasn't a problem, and Jan bought into Calais Campbell. Yeah. See, Jalen didn't buy into Calais Campbell. He's like, I don't care what you got to say.
Because he's at the same position. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So this is my point.
But the leadership, you got to buy into the leadership. If it's not the coaches, it better be the leadership.
But it starts with the position group. So this is my point, Brent. I think Chason's going to be fine. You know why? Because he's got Josh Allen. Okay, I think Chenault's going to be fine. You know why? Because he's got DJ Chark. Now, is CJ Henderson going to? Yeah, Chris Conley. Now, the question comes, is CJ Henderson going to be fine?
DJ Hayden, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right?
Hopefully. But keep in mind, that's a very, very young cornerback room right now. Yeah. Extremely young.
Yeah. So that's a good point. What's the mesh going to look like is a big part of this. What else on the roster as we take a look at this? There are 2 other things that could caught my attention on the depth chart.
Yeah.
From a roster seems like forever ago now. They've added practice squad players. I don't think there are major surprises other than the fact that Luton basically was the second guy. and which I kind of told you Luton I thought would be the second guy, but I didn't think I thought experience would still trump that.
Yeah.
Well, Glennon's back on the active roster now, so at least they have somewhere to go if they need to. It's really tough to run out Minshew and Luton, two guys that have played a total of 14 games in the NFL, and that be your quarterback room. And listen, I don't think Glennon did much to even earn a spot from what I saw, but at least you have somebody who's played in the game, played in the league, played under Jay
Has a little
Gruden.
experience, man.
You need something there.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about experience. You need Minshew. You can't put all this on Minshew. No. I mean, he's still a young quarterback in the league trying to prove everything here in 2020. But there were two other things that really caught my attention. Tyler Reifert listed second on the depth chart, which is really doesn't carry much importance because you play two tight ends a lot and you shuffle them in and out, so it doesn't matter. But I think it's more of a nod to James O'Shaughnessy. There's a lot of respect for James O'Shaughnessy in that building. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was just a guy, even going all the way back a few years back. Now he's stuck on this roster through injuries. He showed some good moments at times early last year with Minshew, and he's going to be maybe their top guy at the tight end spot, although I think Eifert will have a big role.
Yeah. Am I surprised that James O'Shaughnessy right now, at least according to the depth chart, is the number one tight end? You better believe it. Who wasn't surprised about that? You have Tyler Eifert. Look at that. But at the same time, am I upset about it? Absolutely not. And here's why. All I need Tyler Eifert to do, Brent, is when it's either third and long or you're in the red zone, go out there, run a seam route, Gardner Minshew, throw the ball up, and Tyler Reifert, use that big base, use that body, and get a touchdown or get a first down. That's all I need you to do. Yes, I understand that you're respectable in the run game. Yes, I understand that you're that dual threat, tight end that can be pretty productive in the receiving game and the run game. I get all that, man. But guess what? You were brought here for one reason, and that's to grab touchdowns and to get first downs. So if that means that you're going to play maybe a fraction less than James O'Shaughnessy, I'm cool with that, as long as we keep you healthy, as long as you do what you were brought here to do, and that's catch the football and make the big plays. So with that being said, I'm not mad at it. I think if James O'Shaughnessy gets a couple more reps just because maybe he's younger, maybe he's the fresher guy, then so be it. To me, the biggest thing with Tyler Eifert, at least to start out the season, is making sure this guy's 100%, or at least as close to 100% as possible, and then letting him dominate in the red zone.
Yeah, the other big surprise for me was Adam Gotsis listed at, listen, they have problems. They have depth problems, no doubt, okay? But ahead of DeJuan Smoot. I thought Smoot coming off a 6-sack season. Now, Gotsis is a guy who's done things before and played at a pretty good level. Former second-round pick. We had him on the show a couple weeks back.
Yep.
That was interesting to me. I thought Gotsis would make the team. I just didn't know where we would fit in the rotation, and now they've got him listed as the guy opposite Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised because I kind of sang the praise of DeJuan Smoot a little bit of how good his footwork looked and how just, watching him go through drills, he looked fantastic. But I will say this about Gotsis real quick. What was the one thing I said that he does really well? Better than anything. You remember?
Stop the run.
Exactly. Okay. It shows up on film. His old teammates used to say in Denver that I read articles about, like, this guy can stop the run. And I think when you analyze the biggest red flag, the biggest question mark going into the season right now, especially week 1 against the Indianapolis Colts, is what? Can you stop Marlon Mack? Can you stop Jonathan Taylor? Yes, you have Phillip Rivers, but let's be honest. This Colts offensive line, they're going to try to pound the rock. So with that being said, can you stop the run? At least in the past, your starting defensive end, your starting has been able to do that.
Listen, D.D. Westbrook pushed way down the list at wide receiver right now. That could be a little injury, but could that also be a little bit of, we don't have a lot of confidence in D.D. Is it injury related or is it depth related? How much of this is on D.D.? This is a prove-it year for D.D. Westbrook, and I'm not saying he's in the doghouse here, but you got Chris Conley and Laviska Shenault ahead of him, at least on this part of the depth chart, and you got DJ Chark on the other side as well. And Keelan Cole has slid up the depth chart because he had a tremendous camp. D.D. Westbrook in trouble for snaps?
Well, listen, in terms of injury, I don't buy into that because the guy's still the starting punt returner, right? So if you're really concerned about his injuries, why are you putting him out there on the punt team?
Yeah,
so, I just think it's a matter of what this team has seen so far during training camp, what the past has shown, and I guess what Gruden can visualize in his offense. I'll be honest, man. I thought D.D. Westbrook, by the time they signed Gruden, would be a surefire, bona fide starter. But you got guys like Laviska Shenault. You said Keelan Cole had a fantastic camp. all of a sudden you go down the board a little bit, and now you're on the outside looking in. It can be one if it's a personal message. Maybe it's a little motivation to D.D. Westbrook, if you will, but not a good sign when you got a lot of guys ahead of you right now.
A couple other things here that are of interest for me, and they're not necessarily who's in order of what, but just give you a little sunshine and rainbows right now.
Here we go. On a cloudy Monday, if you will.
I'm going to go with what I was going to say. I'm going to say second. Okay. I have 2 points of sunshine and rainbows. We talk a lot about how young this football team is. But if you really take into consideration their offense, is it as young as we believe it is? Like their first team, they're on their depth chart, offense and defense really, has quite a bit of NFL experience. Now, it's got some young guys on it, albeit, but it's got quite a bit of their offensive line. Jawan Taylor's in year 2. Everybody else has played this is 4th year or more in the NFL. That's some pretty good, and it's got consistency there because they now played together last year. Eifert, obviously, and O'Shaughnessy bring experience. Chark's now in his 3rd year. Conley's been around 6 years. Minshew obviously is young. He's in his 2nd season. And Keelan Cole is even now somewhat of a vet in the NFL. I mean, listen, if you're a 4-year guy, you're old in the NFL.
Yeah.
So are they as young? Is this narrative of it being as young as we all have said? Youngest football team in the league, a ton of guys, rookies, 16 of them, 24 players that are 1st or 2nd year guys. Are we overplaying that narrative based on some of the experience, at least their first team looks like they have on their depth chart?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you talk about young and old teams, you start with the starters, right? Like, yeah, I mean, the back end, they're always going to be young. Why? Because the NFL every single year, they go towards the younger guys because they're less expensive. Simple as that. So as I do break down the offense, and like you did a great job of doing, I mean, yeah, they do have some experience there. And on defense, kind of the same thing a little bit. I mean, I guess when I think, though, in terms of young, Brent, like, yeah, age is one thing, but also just playing. I go to the defense, right, because I'm a defensive guy. So like, I look at guys like Gotsis right now, and then I look at guys, obviously, like Joe Schobert, and I look at guys like a Leon Jacobs, and a Josh Jones. Like, to me, and C.J. Henderson. And, like, to me on defense, they're extremely young. Not only because some of their first years, but also because they haven't played in the system.
Yeah,
they haven't played in Jacksonville.
Well, they haven't been in that position to start. Like, Gotsis is not getting that many reps or games or whatever, potentially. I mean, I'm just using him as an example. He's actually played quite a bit in the NFL.
Exactly. And like Joe Schobert, yes, he has some experience in the NFL, but he's never played in this type of system before with these kind of guys. So, like, to me, well, then you're still young, right? Like, it's simple as that. So, on offense, I'll be honest, I'm not as worried as some people probably are right now in terms of the youth. But on defense, I have to be.
Okay, so here's my second little piece of sunshine and rainbows about a narrative that's been really strong. And we've played it too. I'm guilty of it. Yeah. The youth narrative and this one. The defensive line because of attrition. We've seen a lot of guys go away. We know the Marcel Darius's and Calais Campbell's and now Yannick Ngakwe's.
Yeah.
But if I give you this, just one if, how much better do you feel about their defensive line and their depth there if Taven Bryan shows capability? Okay, so I'm going to play that if, who's looked pretty good in camp when available. He's back from injury, but he's looked pretty good, and they purposely kept him out for a while. He could have played even a week and a half ago. If Taven Bryan comes to form and is what they've expected and kind of builds off what we just saw the last month and what they've insinuated the last month, you have Josh Allen, who everybody loves. Avery Jones has been a good pro. You have Taven Bryan, who's now ready to take this step. Again, that's a big if on this. I understand. That's the sunshine and rainbows part of this. Gotsis is a former second-round guy who's now playing in, I think, his 5th season in the NFL and who's shown the ability to stop the run.
But he's come up an injury. Keep in mind, though, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You don't have to agree with me here. I'm just trying to sell you.
I'm just saying that. Okay, I got you.
And then you got Chason, who people believe is a good talent, right? Yeah. Behind you. People would sign up for Josh Allen and Caleb Chason right now.
How could you not?
Devon Hamilton, who's shown some stuff, but we still need to see some stuff.
Correct.
No doubt. To me, that's probably their weakest spot if, again, Taven Bryan plays well. I like Timmy Jernigan, man. Timmy Jernigan becomes your backup guy at 3 technique right now, and I think that's some great depth right there. And that's not something we've talked about in terms of depth on the defensive line.
He could very well be a starter.
And then DeJuan Smoot, who had 6 sacks last year and played that role as a backup pretty well. My point being, yeah, it's not 2017. But is this defensive front with those 8 guys, again, if Taven Bryan comes to life, better than we're giving it credit for.
Well, listen, when we're talking about defensive front, to me, it starts with one thing, Brent. It's stopping the run, right? Let's be honest. You have to stop the run this year. Like, that was evident last year. Teams watched last year's film. Teams know right now that you can be exposed in the run game. Now, you probably also be exposed in the pass game as well because we're such a young secondary, but let's get into the run game real quick. It all starts in the interior, okay? I don't care if you have 2 legit, bona fide all-pro edge rushers. If you don't have the interior, that starts with, obviously the linebacker, the 3 technique, and the nose tackle. It doesn't matter how good your edge defenders are. Obviously, I think the Jaguars right now on their edge, we love it, man. All right? I mean, Josh Allen, Chase on, getting after the quarterback, it's not going to be an issue, I feel like, on the edge. But once again, stopping the run, could that be an issue? You mentioned Gotsis a little bit. Yes, he is a beast and absolutely stopping the run. Coming off a little bit of an injury, though, right? Once again, a little newer of a system. Keep in mind, when Vic Fangio came in, Gotsis was kind of on the way out, right? Because he got pushed out. Now, in that system, which I played in before, you're asked a little more, right? You have to play a little more of a 2-gap technique and things like that. He's not going to be doing that here.
Simplified here.
Exactly. But here, though, you're still playing that big end technique, right? So you're taking on double teams. It's not just straight one-on-one. So can he handle that job? We'll see. That's a little bit of a question mark right now. See, I feel like you're sunshine and rainbows, and I'm like
no, you're more probably reality.
Maybe.
And what I'm just saying is the narrative has become so deep in the last 3 weeks that this team is young and sucks at defensive line.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, hey, to me, Taven Bryan's the most important player on this defense right now.
Yeah,
he's the most important player. I know they're young in the secondary. In fact, I think they're going to struggle at times in the pass game. I think C.J. Henderson's probably a pretty good player, but I think he's going to take some lumps here in the early going. I've said that since the day he was drafted. That doesn't mean he's going to be a bust. Doesn't mean he's not going to be a Pro Bowler someday. But I think he's going the adjustment. I think he's going to get beat up a little bit at times. I think Taven Bryan becomes one of the most important people on this defense to at least save face. I'm not talking about being an elite defense here. Yeah. I'm talking about being an average defense, being able to get people off the field or create third down situations so you can use Josh Allen and Caleb Chase on. To me, Taven Bryan is such an important part of this. And quite frankly, I like Timmy Jernigan back there, and you're going to shuffle other guys in. Mm-hmm. But maybe what you're saying, is Gotsis more important? Is Avery Jones more important? Who becomes the most important part of that defensive line, especially on first and second downs?
Listen, to me, it's still the same answer when I said who's the most important player this year on the defensive line when he was playing. It's Rodney Gunter. All right, I said he was the most important piece of this defensive line because without a bona fide 3 technique, you can't rush the passer. Your edges get exposed a little bit with double teams and chip blocks, and you lose the offense's respect. So with that being said, well, Gunter's gone, so I have to go Taven Bryan. Yes, Taven Bryan right now is the most important part of this defensive line. How confident am I? Yes, he showed flashes last year, right? But I need a guy like Calais Campbell. When he's out there, he's going to be Mr. Dependable, right? And we're not going to ask him to get 25 tackles for losses or 10 whatever Calais Campbell's had. All I need, though, is disciplined football. All I need for you is to be in the right spot at the right time, good pad level, and not get blown out. Simple as that. Keep in mind this too, Brent. Defensive line. Take a look at the safeties and the strong side linebacker as well, because I can see Todd Wash bringing strong side linebackers down, bringing safeties down to try to help out this defensive line a little bit. I don't think right now on paper this defensive line is good to hold their own just the way they are. I think they're going to need some help. So I think you're going to see a strong safety in Josh Jones. I think you'll see Leon Jacobs or Cassius Marsh come down and help out in the line a little bit. So they're just as important in stopping the run as the defensive linemen are.
Both sides of the ball, Jags need people to surprise us. They need to play to their potential and maybe even above at times. That's what they've tasked this roster with. Mm-hmm. That's reality. I can find a little of sunshine and rainbows here or there, but that's reality. They need guys to overperform or perform to what their expectation level is. They really can't afford a lot of underperformances.
Correct.
On this team. It's hard to make up for it. And so they're going to have to do a lot of little things well here in Jacksonville. Let's take a look at the Colts when we come back. Also a little FSU at 4. They have a game week, too. What's the latest coming out of Tallahassee? We've got a long way to go here still. Hope you're doing well on a Tuesday. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Jump in the conversation on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and even Twitch. You can always give us a call, 904-362-9901 or star 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Variable cloudiness today, scattered showers and thunderstorms with some downpours at times. Highs in the upper 80s, dropping into the mid-70s tonight. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jags from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Save thousands right now with Beard's unbeatable deals.
It doesn't matter how old we are. We all need love and support. Yet, teenagers who end up in foster care have a much harder time finding it, as nearly 82% of current foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. The good news is, you can positively impact a teen's life by becoming a foster parent with help from Family Support Services of North Florida. You don't have to be married or own a home. You provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. So if you've ever felt a calling to help youth, please take this opportunity to explore becoming a foster parent to a teen through Family Support Services. Teenagers may no longer be little, but they still need lots of love. Take the next step by visiting foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Hey, does your car still only play CDs? No Bluetooth? No CarPlay? You got an old car, my friend. You know what's better than an old car? A less old car. Get a car or truck that's new to you with a great used car loan from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Get pre-approved for a loan and shop at any dealership in town. Get a low rate and get rid of that old car today. Apply online at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Right now at Diamonds Direct. Pick any piece of beautiful jewelry. Get the best price. Pay nothing down. And spread your payments over 5 years. With 0 interest. It's the easiest and smartest way to buy. 5 years, 0 interest financing. And everything's included. From all engagement rings to all bands, bracelets, earrings, and pendants. Don't miss this encore offer for 2020. You can even finance the sales tax. 5 years, 0 interest. Now for a limited time at Diamonds Direct. Approved credit. Get store hours, directions, and details now at diamondsdirect.com.
Florida children are eligible for head-to-toe coverage through the Florida Kid Care Program, which is high-quality, affordable health and dental coverage with cost as low as $15 a month. To assist families applying for Florida Kid Care or Medicaid and increase enrollment in the Florida Kid Care Program, the Players Center for Child Health with Wolfson Children's Hospital offers free application assistance. For appointments, call 904-202-WELL. That's 904-202-9355. Habla Español.
Hi, I'm Hunt Hawkins, CEO of Steinmart and chair of the 2020 First Coast Heart Walk. The Heart Walk is going virtual, and while we might not be able to meet in person this year, we still need you to support the American Heart Association's mission of being a relentless force for a world of longer, healthier lives for all. At Steinmart, caring is one of our core values, and we care about the health of our community. We will be unified in the fight to improve our health and the health of our families and our community. So let's walk. Register and start a fundraising team today at firstcoastheartwalk.org, and then make plans to join us on Saturday, September 12th to Heart Walk Where You Are. Let's make a difference in the fight against heart disease and stroke. Again, register today at firstcoastheartwalk.org.
Locally sponsored by Steinmart, Florida Blue, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ascension St. Vincent's, Baptist Health, Brooks Rehabilitation, Main Street America, and Mayo Clinic.
After a long day, having my dogs greet me at the door with their silly smiles and wagging tails makes me happy. I want to keep that joy with me for years to come. That's why I trust Forever Vets Animal Hospital to keep my pets healthy. Forever Vets was voted 2019's best vet in Jacksonville Magazine's Readers Poll, and it's easy to see why. The affordable wellness plans are tailored to meet all of your pet's changing needs as they grow. Open 7 days a week, Forever Vets friendly staff is available to treat you and your pet with care. They combine extended hours with online booking to allow you to give your pet quality care while accommodating your schedule. Go online to forevervets.com to find which of their 9 locations is nearest you. And don't forget their newest location in Bartram Market. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets happy and healthy forever.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Internal Revenue Service. When you owe a personal or business tax debt and can't pay, just hearing those 3 words brings feelings of fear and anxiety. I'm Jonathan David Suryash, Managing Tax Attorney at J. David Tax Law. Everyone knows that if you owe the IRS and don't pay, it's only a matter of time before tax liens, wage garnishments, or bank levies happen to you. The first step to resolution is our no-cost consultation. We take the time to go through your specific tax problem step by step. We explain exactly what your options are and how we will resolve your tax issue. J. David Tax Law is a local firm right here in Jacksonville, where only an experienced tax attorney will represent you. Our fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. If you have tax problems, call us now for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777, or find us on the web at jdavidtaxlaw.com. That's jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Hi, happy Tuesday. I'm Jake Mitchell. The NFL season kicks off this Thursday, and the Jaguars have named captains. They are Gardner Minshew, Brandon Linder, and Chris Conley on offense, Josh Allen, Miles Jack, who wasn't down, Avery Jones, and Gerard Wilson on defense, and kicker Josh Lambo for special teams. Undrafted free agent rookie James Robinson will get the start at tailback for Week 1. Oregon's Penei Sewell, ESPN's number 2 rated NFL projected draft pick, is the latest college star to opt out of the season. Here's what the number 1 rated draft prospect Trevor Lawrence said when asked if he considered opting out.
I think everyone's thought about it just with everything going on. But, since I've made the decision to play, I hadn't thought about it again. That's my decision. I'm committed. I want to play my last year here, if that's what I decide to do.
If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jackson, ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
They probably already have one. Cornholing.
Austin Lane.
You're going to have a call from PR in a little bit here.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Man, I don't know. Times changed everything. I'm moving past that. My times that was great. I made a bond with a lot of coaches and some of the players that's my brothers for life. And some of those coaches I built a relationship with. And things happened. I guess it wasn't God's plan. God had other things for me to do and to see. And I'm moving on from it.
That is Leonard Fournette today in Tampa. We're at number 28 now. And finally, in his words, has a quarterback. He definitely has a quarterback. Finally, or for the first time, I think the quote was, first time in my career I've got a quarterback. Is that See, sometimes I believe that these guys, like, I'm not sure I'm hammering Fournette for saying that. Like, this is where I got to be really careful not to be contradictory.
Well, be careful because the organization's watching too, Brent. The Jaguars are watching right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead and carry that pail.
Well, here's the thing. I think when you ask guys, this is what I always wrestle with. When I ask a question to a player, I'd like a legitimate answer, a genuine answer. And so if Leonard's given his opinion on something like, hey, this is the first time I really feel like I've got a quarterback, is he that far off? Is that a dig on Minshew? Is that a dig on Bortles? Is that a dig on Foles? Or is it what Leonard saw up close, the same thing that everybody else saw? Listen, we're impressed with Minshew. We like Minshew. We think he's better than other people think, but he still hasn't proven a whole lot in the NFL. That's not unfair to say. And maybe Leonard, who obviously wanted Cam Newton in, wasn't a huge fan of Gardner Minshew. And he's speaking the truth, and now we're going to hammer him for speaking the truth, or at least giving his opinion on it. So that's where I try to get a little – I'm not sure this was a dig as much as maybe Leonard, from his opinion, being genuine about, listen, Bortles didn't work out. Bortles isn't even in the league right now. Foles wasn't good here when he played. Henne is a backup and is never going to be a starter. And Minshew, we'll see. Leonard might be wrong about Minshew, but he might not be wrong about Minshew either. There's a lot of people around the country who don't think Minshew's going to be the guy.
Listen, in the case revolving Leonard Fournette, and if he's speaking any lies in terms of the quarterbacks that he's played with, you know what, Brent? I'll be honest with you. I see no lies. Okay, now once again, we'll see with Gardner Minshew how that pans out. But this goes back to the point that I've been trying to echo now for the past couple weeks or so. Whenever some team the past couple years, let's go back 4 years ago. All right, let's go back 3 years because of how far Leonard has been here for. Let's go back 3 years, okay? And let's think of every single game the Jacksonville Jaguars played in. Let's think about their opponents, everything like that, their division rivals, all that good stuff. If you're a defensive coordinator trying to plot out a way to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, who do you put on the board first where you have to stop?
Leonard Fournette.
10 times out of 10, it's Leonard Fournette. Then it's everybody else. Then it was DJ Chark for a little while, right? Then I'm trying to think. Then it was probably like, was Alan Hearns here for Fournette? Yeah. Then it was Alan Hearns for a little bit. And it's about, I don't know. Like, give me some more playmakers. I'm trying to prove a point here. Give me some more playmakers.
Well, 17, it really wasn't. You had Marquise Lee and you had Alan Hearns. Robinson was hurt. Yeah. And you had Mercedes Lewis. But, people weren't game planning for those guys.
And they weren't game planning for Blake Bortles either.
And they weren't game planning for Bortles. They were stacking the box.
Yep. And all due respect to Minshew last year, but guess what? They weren't game planning for Gardner Minshew last year. So with that being said, and if you're a running back, man, and your paychecks and your livelihood is dependent on how many yards you get, how many touchdowns you get, well, that wasn't helped out when every single team was stacking the box. That wasn't helped out when every single team was going to the quarterback saying, hey, Blake Bortles, hey, Gardner Minshew, you beat us. Because Fournette's not going to beat us. So, to me, if I'm a running back, that's hitting, man.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, and that's what, I'm just being honest here. Yeah. I'm trying not to be hypocritical and say, I don't know if this was just him speaking honestly. And again, that doesn't mean he's right.
Yeah.
Bortles had a very good December in 2017. He had some moments in January as well. He did get help there. Now, across the board, was he good? No. But for his rookie year with Bortles, he was the best Bortles we'd seen, quite frankly. And Leonard in 2018 cost this team just as much as anybody else. Couldn't get on the field. He had issues off the field. He was a problem in the locker room at times. You just had immaturity issues in 18. That's the book on 2018 season for Leonard Fournette. Again, take some accountability for that. And in 19, now you have Nick Foles coming in and Gardner Minshew. And Foles doesn't live up to the hype. That's not the Philadelphia version of Nick Foles. And Minshew is a young quarterback who probably made mistakes at times and sometimes was very good. So, and it just is interesting, the juxtaposition of these comments about the quarterback after we heard Gardner talk last week.
Yeah.
And say, well, the good thing about young players, we don't have a lot of egos in here. That seemed a bit directed at Leonard Fournette. Maybe a bunch of guys, but at Leonard Fournette. And you wonder if this seemed directed at Gardner Minshew. Here's what Leonard Fournette said today in Tampa about the quarterbacks.
Football is football. I've been playing the same game for 25 years. I mean, for the first time in my life, I really have a quarterback. So that's an eye-opener for me. And not a lot of pressure is going to come on me. You know, I guess it's going to be a lot of with me and him and a lot of other guys on the offense. But as far as like game planning and changing things, it's great for me. You know, I'm happy to be back there with one of the greatest, the greatest that played this game. And I get to learn from him too. You know, I guess my first 2 days there was sitting there talking to him about the defenses, what he expects and what I expect from him, you know, expectations, because, you know, it's high right now. But we have to start with each other on the team, you know, to understand each other and, you know, get up better communication skills with each other first before anything.
Yeah, and so that's Leonard Fournette today. And again, it sounds in print. It sounds in headline form like it's a shot at everybody who's played quarterback here. And quite frankly, I don't think a lot of guys would disagree with how Foles performed here and what Bortles did here and their quarterback situation. I mean, the way it's been. Now, Minshew's a different animal. Minshew, I don't think we've seen enough. I don't think that's fair to him to say he's not a good quarterback, but he did play with a rookie quarterback. And if you get the point in the context, he's basically saying since Pop Warner, since high school, since LSU, he had to carry the load, is what he's saying. And I think in a sense this is a compliment to Tom Brady, of course, saying, I got a chance to play with Tom Brady. That guy gets all the pressure. I get to kind of do my thing. So I don't know. It's funny. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm ripping Ronnie Harrison over the weekend for his parting shot. Yeah. Yet I don't feel, if I'm being completely honest, that this was necessarily a major dig at Minshew specifically, more so than the reality of kind of Leonard Fournette's football career. He has not played with an elite quarterback. It's hard not to ignore what he said to about Cam Newton, and then Minshew's comments last week, and now this. It seems like it's come in a succession where there's a little something going on between Minshew and Fournette.
See, I'm not going to quite buy into that. I'm going to buy into the fact that as Leonard Fournette has been reflecting on his career here in Jacksonville, it's a career of frustration. Yeah, it's a career of just piled on frustration. Because, man, I'm telling you, I know how these defensive meetings work. You know, and I'm reminded. I want to go back to 2010. Okay, and I want to go back to Everbank Field at the time. We were playing the Cleveland Browns. All right, the Cleveland Browns had a quarterback by the name of Colt McCoy. They had a running back by the name of Peyton Hillis. Now, Peyton Hillis, you probably never heard of him before, and you know what? I don't blame you if you have. But Peyton Hillis was on the cover of Madden. Okay, now whether that was earned or given to him, regardless, he's on the cover of Madden. Everybody for a little bit was talking about Peyton Hillis. We only had one job that year back in 2010 against the Cleveland Browns. Peyton Hillis does not run the ball against us. I don't care about Colt McCoy. I don't care about anybody else. I don't care. I forgot who even the receivers are. All I remember is just Peyton Hillis. And then that was shoved down our throats at practice. It was shoved down our throats watching film. And it was shoved down our throats in position meetings. Like, we had one job to do. Well, guess what? Peyton Hillis, you know how many yards he had? 48 out of 20-something carries. So we did a great job. Now, we lost the game. I think we lost. It was like in the 20s. All I remember is that we gave up a fumble. The offense did. So our defense did a job, regardless of that. But my point is, when you key around one guy at the running back position and you don't respect the quarterbacks, maybe you don't respect the receivers, it makes it very hard. You remember Derrick Henry, man. Derrick Henry last year, off to a mediocre start at best. Ryan Tannehill comes in, and everyone's like, oh, that's Ryan Tannehill. Yeah. Well, guess what, man? Ryan Tannehill demanded respect. He demanded attention so much that teams started having to respect him a little bit. And then they stopped crowding the box a little bit because now you have A.J. Brown. Now you had Sanu. And you had Corey Davis, but that is what it is there. But you had guys that could take the tension off Derrick Henry. And when that happened, you saw what Derrick Henry did, right? So I think Leonard Fournette's just frustrated from the standpoint of at least from his perspective, he's felt like he's had to do it himself the entire time.
What's your take on Fournette in Tampa? You think I'm mixed on it. There's a part of me that's like, they're so crowded in that room. Yeah. And if it does in the first 3 or 4 weeks, and again, I'm not saying Fournette's going to be a problem. I'm just saying maybe he's not the right fit, not the guy getting all the carries, the guy that meshes well with their offense, whatever it is. I don't know how that's going to work. There's a part of me that's like, I'm not sure if he's going to make it through the year with them because they're so crowded. Now, in a world of injuries and everything else, that probably is a bit surprising. And then there's this other part of me when Ty told me he picked him, and then he got and the Jags released him, and he's like, Ty's like, where's he going to land? Where's he going to land? I was like, why you picked? Yeah, I picked him. I was like, and then later in the week, I was like, Ty, You just hit a home run, man.
Yeah.
You picked Fournette. I think he's going to score a bunch of touchdowns for Tampa. That's the side I'm leaning. I actually think he's going. I don't think he's going to have a 1,000-yard year.
Me neither.
But I do think he will score. I think he has a chance to score double-digit touchdowns.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
No, but listen, I've been very adamant about this. To me, it reminds me of when LeGarrette Blount went to New England.
Yeah,
and what they did with him, right? Because of all things right now, we're pretty sure that this Tampa Bay offense is going to be electric this year. How can they not be? They're too big to fail. You have way too many weapons. And when you're electric and when you're too big to fail, you're going to have a lot of red zone opportunities. When you have a lot of red zone opportunities, that means you get a lot of goal line work. To me, Leonard Fournette's going to be the goal line guy. Or he's going to be the guy on 3rd and 1 or, on 4th and 2, whatever, where you got to convert it. To me, Leonard Fournette is that guy. Now, Peyton Barber, Peyton Barber's kind of the jack of all trades. And so far, obviously Bruce Arians is very into him. I'll be honest with you, I've had him a couple of years in fantasy. I never really saw the hype too much. Now we'll see what this year with Tom Brady in a dynamic offense, what Peyton Barber can do. But I just know when it comes down to the goal line, Leonard Fournette's getting the ball.
Yeah, I think he will too. I think he will. It'll be really interesting to see. A little bit later in the week, I want to talk about Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady. Are we almost? I don't know if people are talking about Rivers in the same way they're talking about Brady, although both guys have been trending down. I mean, they really have. Even Brady has been trending down. Is that the Patriots' fault? Is that Tom's fault? Is that Father Time? We'll talk about that a little bit later in the week, especially when we look at the Colts a little bit more. By the way, FSU at 4. We got a game week. Georgia Tech, Florida State, 3:30. Last night we had the debut of the Mike Norvell Show with Florida State football right here on ESPN 690. Want to let you know, Florida State football fans, we are your home for Florida State football and basketball right here on ESPN 690 in the Jacksonville area and beyond. Welcome home, Knowles fans. They're right here on ESPN 690. An hour to go, we talk more football, a little bit of NBA playoffs, plus give me one thing from the weekend. And I need a fight camp update, as your fight is now 4 days away. It's all on the way on ESPN 690. Hey everyone, this is Brett Martineau from Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10 different platforms. But if you missed the show, you missed this. That was Aaron Gordon from the Orlando Magic. Was he driving a Zamboni during that?
I believe they were Zamboning the courts.
I was like, Kuja said Zambone in the courts.
Is that what Zamboni?
That's the verb of Zamboniing.
Sure about that?
Subscribe to the podcast and check the show out on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Get the podcast daily. All you have to do is search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
Are you ready for a new ride? Then your wait is over. It's the Today's the Day sales event, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Today's the day for you to drive away from Arlington one really happy customer in your brand new Toyota. That's because you'll get 0% for 60 months on all new 2020 Camrys, Corollas, and RAV4s. 0%. How about getting a new Toyota Plus, no payments for 90 days? Today's the day because that's exactly what you'll get at Arlington. And did I mention 2 years of free maintenance? Yes. Today's the day you get your new Toyota at Arlington, plus 2 years of free maintenance. And with every new vehicle purchase from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind, thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Today is most definitely the day to get the Toyota you really want at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. Today is the day for full details.
The current coronavirus outbreak has caused difficulties for many of our area's small businesses. From losing customers to falling behind in payments, business owners need help. At SCORE, our highly trained counselors are here to help. In Jacksonville, SCORE provides services to almost 6,000 individuals annually. We are currently mentoring virtually and identifying possible financial assistance through the SBA and other resources. Visit jacksonville.score.org for links with more information.
Nobody gives back like Diamonds Direct. That's right, it's back. Our most popular offer, 5 years, 0 interest financing. September is the time to buy at Diamonds Direct. Get the best price, plus spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. And every purchase made in September will benefit No Kid Hungry's mission to end childhood hunger right here in our community. Buy now, spread your payments over 5 years, and give at Diamonds Direct on approved credit. Visit diamondsdirect.com for details.
Though no longer little, teens still need a lot of love. Yet teens in foster care have a harder time finding it, as 82% of foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. You can positively impact a teen's life as a foster parent. With help from Family Support Services of North Florida, you provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. Take the next step at foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
Appliances may work on your schedule, but they quit on theirs. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we'll get your appliances back up and running in no time at all. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have repaired more than 100,000 appliances over the past 35 years, servicing Jacksonville to St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. When your appliances quit, we're ready to get started. For quality repair at a price that's fair, visit AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Did you know that you have the power to positively impact a local child's life? It's as easy as donating to Daniel, Florida's oldest child service agency. Daniel provides counseling to children. Daniel helps homeless teens find shelter and learn to live independently. Daniel connects kids with foster families and strengthens at-risk families so they can stay together. They've done all this and more for 135 years. Please become a part of improving the lives of local children and families by donating at danielkids.org today.
I never knew my home would become my workplace. I never dreamed it would be my child's school. And I never imagined my home would be under attack from an invisible enemy called COVID-19. This is why I trust SafeTouch Security. It's one app that puts me in control. My SafeTouch system allows me to control who's on my property, movement while the kids are at home learning their school lessons, who I speak with without even opening the front door, as well as home deliveries, my heating and air conditioning, door locks, and complete protection against the threats of fire, burglary, and assault. You know, you can even have control over your car. Know you are safe with the most up-to-date security system from SafeTouch. SafeTouch Security has been doing what others can't for over 35 years. Reliable local monitoring. No other company comes close to SafeTouch's track record on guaranteed response times. Go to safetouch.com and find out how you can get zero down and free equipment with a lifetime warranty. That's safetouch.com. State license number EF0000233. End of summer savings have been extended at Beard's Diamonds.
Right now at Beard's, take advantage of 5 years zero interest financing.
This unprecedented finance offer absolutely ends this month.
Pick out that one-of-a-kind piece, then divide your total by 60, and that's what you pay a month.
It's the last time you'll get 5 years zero interest this year.
How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month.
Or a pair of diamond studs for $1,500, you pay just $25 a month. Last chance for summer savings. Get her that piece of jewelry she's been dreaming about and spread your payments out over 60 months. 5 years, zero interest is about to end. So hurry.
Beard's Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
Come into Beard's Diamonds. See the difference. Save thousands.
This is the Frells family. They live on a piece of land they call greener pasture, and they work on it behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. With its durable construction and features that hook up to dozens of attachments with ease, no job is too tough. The Frells family runs with us, because this is more than just land, it's home. Nothing runs like a Deere. Get a 1 Series tractor for just $99 per month at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
It's a new season, and at Sport Clips Haircuts, all of our stylists are clean certified and guy smart. So come in and get yourself back in the game with our legendary MVP experience. It's a mancation with our hot steam towel, relaxing shampoo, and a winning cut. Check in online and walk out with confidence. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy.
And you'll be stepping out like a pro.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. Bucs star Giannis Antetokounmpo getting around-the-clock treatment on his sprained ankle, listed as questionable for Game 5 against the Heat tonight, a must-win. With Milwaukee's season on the line, Giannis's playing status comes down to one thing, believes Basketball Hall of Famer Dominique Wilkins.
As a player, as a competitor, I'm going to play. It's just, it ain't about the money. It ain't about anything. It's about my love for the game. But if you look at the way they do it, things are done now, I mean, there's always precautions that's in place to protect the player. And, hey, I'm all for that. but it ultimately comes down to the individual.
Dominique with Chinea Gwumake and Mike Golick Jr. Raptors forward Serge Ibaka not sure if he'll be able to play in tomorrow's Game 6 against the Celtics because of an injured ankle. Toronto down 3-2. NFL, the Cardinals holding on to receiver DeAndre Hopkins for a while. The team and Hopkins agreed two-year, $54.5 million extension, $42.5 million guaranteed. He's tied to Arizona through the 2024 season. The Browns agreed on a two-year, $13 million extension with running back Kareem Hunt.
Just like your skin, the sun's harmful UV rays can be damaging to your vehicle, too. 303 Protectant keeps your vinyl, rubber, and plastic surfaces from fading, cracking, and deteriorating over time. Just spray on and wipe off for the ultimate protection. Automotive.com for more info.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go. ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Yeah, I think my first year was kind of hard for me. It was tough because we ran the ball left, right, Leonard left, Leonard up the middle. So I never really had a chance to pass block. But my first 2 years, I've gotten better and better at it. You know, that's from me practicing over the summertime. That's going with our quarterbacks. It's me just watching YouTube videos and studying defenses and understand what all moves can linebacker, safety come at you with. So I've gotten better with it. I've always could catch. You know, I just come from a school that ran the ball a lot. So as you see last year, I had, I think, 76 receptions last year, which is cool. And I'm just trying to get better and better in every aspect of my game right now.
That's Leonard Fournette. Pretty interesting. Said he had to go to YouTube to get coached up. You know, he did mention the Bruce Arians stuff last week, too.
Yeah.
Again, hey, you asked me this question, I think, last week. Mm-hmm. Who made this move inside the building? I believe Doug Marrone made the move.
Yeah.
To finally get rid of, whether they couldn't trade him and all that stuff. It's like, okay, we're moving on. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. That's the way it adds up for me. And some of the comments now from Leonard also indicate I don't give much credit to that coaching staff.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah. By the way, the Jags did protect 4 players on their practice squad. Nathan Cottrell, the running back out of Georgia Tech. Ben Ellefson, tight end. Matt Flanagan, tight end, which they're light at that position. And Sidney Jones, the corner, who is a guy that I think a name people know, added to the practice squad. Now they protect him on the practice squad. So
a team can't come in and
scoop them up.
Protected, huh? This is like Godfather stuff right here, man. You're part of the family now. You're made man.
Yeah.
You're protected.
Player is not elevated. Let's see, after having been protected, after having not been protected, a player is not elevated to his club's 53-man active roster, he is free to terminate his practice player contract to sign an NFL player contract with any club upon the conclusion of his club's game or 12:01 a.m. on the day following his club's game, whichever is later. I don't know if I can even follow what I just said.
Can we all agree this is a new rule, obviously, this year for COVID-19, right?
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So here's the rule, actually. Each club may designate up to 4 members of the club's practice squad as protected players who shall not be eligible to sign a player contract with any other club until the day following the protecting club's next regular season game. So essentially, it's a week-by-week list, which is interesting. I didn't realize that. So it's a week-by-week list. They can change it, I think, as of Tuesday at 4 o'clock of each week. And then once you're protected, you can't do anything that week, but you're free to go, I think, the next, on Monday morning.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to sign you, then it works the normal way. If you're going to pick somebody off a practice squad, you have to put them on your active roster.
But it begs the question, though, will these protected players can use this protection thing every single time on the same player, or does it have to vary?
I don't see anywhere that there's a limitation to it. Yeah. I think you could I think you can be protected
the whole
16
year.
times.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that, because keep in mind, I mean, some of these guys could get scooped up by other teams and sign on active rosters. You're making a lot more money that way, and it's a great opportunity as opposed to just getting protected.
That is true. I think there's some validity to that from the players. I think from an organizational point of view, especially in a year where you're probably going to need those guys, if you're protecting them, you think you're probably going to need them.
Sure.
Right? So you're probably going to get some game checks along the way, is my guess. I also, I will say this, Dave Caldwell, who we'll hopefully hear from a little bit, all week long from Saturday, who had some interesting comments, but he did say, he's like, I hope the practice squad stays like this forever, because being able to protect guys or keep guys, you can develop
correct
on your roster and then hopefully promote them, within. It's their own little version of the minor leagues.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving guys a chance, and especially in this year, too, where a lot of guys didn't get a chance to showcase their skills. At least they're still on a team right now. At least they're still it's not really an NFL paycheck, but they're collecting some sort of paycheck for playing football. Then once again, I mean, do you find those diamonds in the rough, right? Do you develop these guys a little bit, and all of a sudden, a couple years down the line, we're talking about Pro Bowlers, maybe all pros. You never know.
How about Josh McCown?
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically, $12,000 a week.
Yeah.
Sit on the practice squad just in case.
Yeah.
Is he still coaching high school football and stuff too?
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he can swing it.
I mean,
yeah.
what a gig, right?
But you know what? And listen, $12,000 a week to have probably one of the best scout team quarterbacks of all time, a guy that understands that position, obviously, and understands the look that you're trying to give. I mean, that's $12,000, in my opinion, well spent. So props to him.
Yeah, I guess so. How about DeAndre Hopkins gets a rich deal over 2 years, basically on an extension, and
highest paid non-quarterback
in
player
the NFL.
In the NFL now.
Yeah, $27.5 million. No surprise.
No.
Right? They got it done.
Yep.
This is going to be one of the all-timers to see how this plays out for Arizona. And I'll even leave Kyler Murray and all my angst out of this. But how this plays out for DeAndre Hopkins versus how this plays out for Houston, who just signed Deshaun Watson to this mega deal, but stole his primary weapon and maybe the best receiver in the game and traded them away.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, thanks for my money, but you took my weapon.
Exactly. And, it is kind of, I guess, poetry, the fact that they kind of got paid right next to each other.
It is pretty wild, right?
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I've been saying this for a while now. David Johnson's going to have a good year, right? Because kind of like the C.J. Henderson effect here, and it's not fair to C.J. Henderson, but people are going to see how C.J. Henderson plays this year, and it's like, whoa, this is what Jalen Ramsey got us right here? Like, that comparison's going to happen. Even more to the nth degree in Houston, regardless of that second-round pick that they also got, whatever David Johnson does is going to be tied to, well, we got rid of Hopkins for this, so a lot of pressure on David Johnson this year. Obviously, a lot of pressure on Bill O'Brien, and I just feel like, let's be honest here, Brent, if they don't succeed this year, I think that the time has probably come to pass on Bill O'Brien.
Well, you know how I feel about it. I predicted that he'll be fired halfway through the year, and it's going to blow up in his face.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson can save a little bit of that, but he also has not been the most durable guy at times. And so unfortunately for them, if something were to happen to him, this season could really go downhill in a hurry for the Houston Texans. There's not, in my opinion, a real scary team in the AFC South, and there really hasn't been. The Titans are a bad matchup and have been a bad matchup for the Jags. They've run all over them. Houston, again, the Jags being the measuring stick of how they've done does not necessarily make you a scary team. The Jags have not been good enough to beat these teams, but that's not my point. They don't have the New England Patriots of the last 15 years. They don't have Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City and Andy Reid and all that team now together in the AFC West.
Yeah.
They don't have Seattle, who you always know is going to be a contender because of Russell Wilson.
Sure.
And what you'd say is, well, yeah, they do. They have Deshaun Watson. Yeah, but he still hasn't proven that he can do it all by himself like Russell Wilson has.
And you took away his best weapon.
And you took away your best, and you
if
kind of
he's
have
that
this. And Bill O'Brien's kind of like, you don't have a lot of confidence that Bill O'Brien can put it together. You have a confidence that Seattle can rebuild it, make good moves, and Pete Carroll's going to get a good team on the field.
Yeah.
So my point is, like, the rest of this AFC South, I feel like they could be very good, but they haven't given me enough evidence that they are going to be good to scare me for the next this year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road. I'm probably understating it. I'm probably underrating them.
Yeah. But isn't it funny, though? And listen, I think the AFC South, they always get a bad rap, and whether some of that's warranted or not, it's up for debate. But if you go back to last year, Brent, and the AFC South that was represented with Houston and Tennessee, They looked pretty good last year. Now, Houston obviously choked in Kansas City, and that was, a nightmare to say the least, but you saw what the Tennessee Titans did as well. So in terms of productivity, in terms of how those playoff teams did, one could say the AFC South was super competitive.
Yeah, I think, again, it's a weird division. Take the Jags out of it for now.
Yeah.
They have 3 teams that could be very good. You got Phillip Rivers and a Colts team that's been remade and rebuilt.
Yep.
You have Tennessee, who, if Derrick Henry does his thing again, and now you add Jadeveon Clowney and Beasley and Simmons, and
if Ryan Tannehill can be halfway decent.
And if Tannehill, if there's ifs, this is in every team. But they could really take off.
Yeah.
And then you have Deshaun Watson, who's the class of the QBs really in the division, and maybe one of the best in the league, although I still think he's overrated at times, if I'm being honest. But those teams could be really good. But all 3 have, this floor that could be really not so good.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I could see it crashing down in Houston. I could see it crashing down in Tennessee because of Tannehill and Henry not duplicating what they did. And I could see it, I don't know about crashing down, because I think they're probably the best football team overall in Indy. But if Rivers plays like he played last year, well, he ain't doing anything. You're not doing much. Chargers were talented, too.
True.
And they still couldn't do much.
But keep in mind, he's going to have an offensive line to back him up in a pretty solid run game to boot as well.
They're better. They're better built with Rivers. Hey, listen, I got Rivers and Colts going to the Super Bowl.
For sure.
So I think they're going to be good.
Listen, I go back to this, and obviously I made a big deal about it. A lot of Jaguars fans made a big deal about Leonard Fournette getting released, right? And you lose your best offensive weapon. Well, think about, and we say, are you trying to help out Gardner Minshew or not? Does losing Fournette truly help out Gardner Minshew or not? Now, I'm going to say it doesn't help him out. Some people could disagree with me. I guess we'll see this season. But when we talk about Houston losing their best offensive weapon, besides Deshaun Watson, obviously, and DeAndre Hopkins getting traded away, they're doing Deshaun Watson 0 favors. Yeah, you're paying him like you're doing him favors, and you're trying to support him in the monetary value sense. But how much are you really helping him out when you trade away his go-to guy for a second-round pick and Brandon Cooks, who, to be fair, is not even in the same stratosphere as DeAndre Hopkins? So you're right. I mean, there's a lot of questions this year in the AFC South.
Brandon Cooks, by the way, not practicing at start of practice per a pool report on today. That's something we'll keep an eye on, too. Some injuries, of course, around the NFL. Cam Newton fitting in nicely in New England, it looks like, as you get ready for this opening week. It looks like a refreshed Cam. Yeah. I think it's one of the great storylines. Obviously, the Tampa-New England juxtaposition here is fantastic with Brady and Newton. Yeah. I think Rivers is a tremendous storyline. I think a hidden storyline is because it's a talented team, although they lost Derwin James again. Once again is the Chargers, because they stick with Tyrod Taylor. They believe in Tyrod Taylor. I don't think he's a very good quarterback. I mean, but they're riding with Tyrod Taylor before Justin Herbert. Fitzpatrick's starting ahead of Tua. When's the clock start ticking on that? There's some fascinating storylines week 1 of the NFL. And again, I said it at the top of the show, said it earlier in the show, if you're betting, the NFL's already hard. Week 1 in the NFL to bet on is extremely difficult. Mm-hmm. There has never been a tougher bet, maybe ever in sports, than this Sunday in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in any sport, I'm sure there has, but I'm going to be over dramatic. How do you predict? How do you know what to expect out of any of these teams?
See, here's the problem. You don't. And listen, if I'm a bookie right now, if I'm an odds maker, good luck. I mean, either you're going to, I think, win a lot or you're going to lose a lot, because I have no idea, man. I'm not going to bet any of this because it's simple. We've had 0 preseason games to go off of. And now I know what you're saying. Well, how much can you really tell off the preseason games? Well, you can tell a little, right? You can kind of see who has the chemistry. You can kind of see where teams are at. I mean, now to be fair, last year, Baltimore, Jacksonville, no one came away from that Baltimore-Jacksonville game saying, well, I'll tell you what, Lamar Jackson, that's running game is going to be a formidable opponent. Nobody saw that coming. So there's some things you can't see coming. But keep in mind this year, every team has one about practicing. Every team has one about how they're going to handle the season differently. Like usually there's a pretty good idea. You have 4 preseason games. You got hard practices here, soft practices here, yada, yada, yada. Like most teams kind of follow a curriculum of how to do training camp. This year, it's the Wild West. Every team's kind of left to their own devices a little bit. Just watch Hard Knocks. Just watch to see how the Rams are doing it compared to the Chargers. Everyone's doing this thing differently. So with that being said, we have no idea what teams are going to come out on fire. We have no idea what teams are going to be ice cold. And to be fair, and it's probably going to pan out like this, there's probably going to be some favorites out there that we think week one, they're going to be too good to fail, and they're probably going to fail. And there's going to be some underdog teams where it's like, this roster absolutely is trash, the personnel is horrible, and they're going to come out and they're going to shock people the first couple weeks.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Right, a little foreshadowing there.
Let's hope so.
A little foreshadowing there.
It is. Listen, the NFL's tough to predict anyway. I mean, I think people are crazy for betting on the NFL. It's hard.
Yeah.
But it's really hard this year. No doubt. Says Jack Sands says, man, I think you're way off on Houston. Hope you're right, though. Hey, listen, I get it. There's a reason to buy Houston. There really is. I just feel like when you have that kind of momentum going bad, the offseason stuff of O'Brien, I don't know what the buy. I feel like their defense gets older and older every year. Like J.J. Watt's a great name. Is he still J.J. Watt? Definitely not the guy he was.
Correct.
But is he? Even if he's half of that, he's
He's
still very
healthy,
good,
right?
I mean, he hasn't
injuries.
shown that he can.
Yeah.
You know, you're really relying on David Johnson to bounce back, and Duke Johnson, and guys that have been injured at receiver to stay healthy. They have potential. Like, I can see what they did with how they replaced it. It's a great, like, I think we already did this with Houston. It's like if you were in a coma for the last 2 years and you came out and you said, damn, they got that on offense? Mm-hmm. You'd be like, heck yeah, Houston, right?
Yeah.
You'd be David Johnson. You'd be excited about guys like Brandon Cooks. You'd be excited about.
Yeah, then I ask, can Fuller stay healthy the whole season?
That's my point.
Yeah,
then you go up and you look at what they did the last 2 years.
True.
And you're like, well, okay. And do they ever have a good enough offensive line for Deshaun Watson? I don't know, man. I just with a lot.
Everyone's all about their offensive line.
Yeah, and I know Tunsil is probably the best guy in the league at that position. I just wonder. I kind of wonder a little bit of the buy-in with Bill O'Brien. I think he's been questioned so much. Mm-hmm. Is that team fully believing it? Now, they're going to say they do, but everybody says they do. Do they really believe it? Houston's interesting, and they got a big one to start it against the Chiefs.
Yeah, so you know where I stand, right? And it's probably with the unsexiest team in the AFC South Division. Brent, go ahead and earmuff it real quick or go ahead and go to the bathroom because you're not going to like what I have to say. But I just think that in this crazy year, in this crazy NFL season where we don't know what training camps were like, we don't know what players are going to look like, I think the only thing that teams have to fall back on, I think the only deciding factor between success and failing is knowing what you do well, and it's knowing your identity. Right now, the Houston's identity, I have no idea. Like, how is David Johnson? Yeah, it's Watson, but like, I mean, how you got to use David Johnson, I'm telling you. You have to use David Johnson somehow. So are you going to be more of a run-oriented team with David Johnson, or are you going to be throwing the ball 70 times a game? We'll see. I think with Indianapolis, I mean, listen, they have the offensive line to be successful. You have Phillip Rivers. You have a solid run game. But what is that going to look like, right? Are you going to rely on Phillip Rivers to win you games? Or are you going to play some, just some smash mouth type of football and let that running game? Like, to me, the only team right now that has an identity that's staked in the ground that you know what they're going to do is the Tennessee Titans. And to me right now, that's the only thing you can actually fall back on in the NFL. Like, for instance, the 49ers, they know their identity. Obviously, Baltimore Ravens know their identity. Green Bay Packers, I don't think so. People right now are struggling in Green Bay. Seattle, I think they kind of know their identity. Like, to me right now, if you know what you do well and you do it, you're going to be successful. So that's why I think Tennessee, once again, is going to be the talk of the AFC South.
A lot of football talk, and we're going to get a little bit more because Dave Caldwell had some interesting comments. I want to get to that the last segment of the show. Are you just tuned it out? Are you numb to it? What does it even mean? Do they really believe this stuff? I mean, those are fair questions, right? I mean, they're fair questions. So we'll hear a little bit of that. But a couple other things in the sports world over the weekend, which was a long weekend. The NBA playoffs. Obviously, Celtics put a whooping on Toronto, so it looks like they'll win that series. They've been the better team in the series. Now they're up 3-2. Boy, Denver tried to steal another one yesterday.
Yeah.
The Lakers looked like they took back control of that series. We'll see if that's certainly the case or not. And, well, the Bucks have to hang on here with a limping Giannis. You don't like your chances.
No, not at all. I mean, listen, I appreciate the effort when he went out with an ankle injury, and then
Middleton stepped up.
Middleton stepped up. Great, Chris Middleton. It's great to see, man. Hey, thanks, man.
Finally.
Hey, thanks, man. Because I've only been singing your praises for the past first 3 games. Our producer Kuz here between segments and everything. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the Bucs can only hold on for so long. I think the Heat are obviously the better team. You can see it on the floor. The Heat want it more. Do I think Milwaukee wins this game? I don't know. It's just to me, there's just way too many things going against them right now. You got a hungry Jimmy Butler, and you got role players like Tyler Hero on the Heat right now that are shooting very well. It's their series, man. Props to them.
Yeah. The question is Miami or the Celtics?
Yeah.
Are they even good enough? I mean, are we going to have a bad finals? I mean, this feels like it's the Clippers-Lakers show, and then the NBA season's over after that. Am I right?
To be fair, we've been saying that a lot every year with the Warriors. It's always like, well, the semifinals are going to be more exciting than the actual finals and stuff like that, and they end up being entertaining.
Well, I don't know. Have they been, though? I mean, the one caveat there is LeBron's been on the opposite side.
True.
And so if LeBron's on the opposite side, you always have a chance. Mm-hmm. Yet, what did they win? 3 out of 4? Did they win 3 out of 4, Golden State? Does that sound right?
Yes.
And they lost the 3-1 lead to Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
Or they would have won 4 in a row? Was that right?
Well,
no, I think they only did 2.
They lost to Toronto.
And then they lost to Toronto.
They lost to Toronto, too. Well, so Toronto's a good example of it then, I guess.
People were writing that off.
That's a good example.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of it. But other than that, I was like, well, they had won 2 in a row. But LeBron, and they had 3-1 against LeBron. I mean, it looked like they were about to do it. So, yeah, I get your point, man. That's sports. And the Celtics, I think, can be really good. The Heat have been really good.
I mean, if the Heat are going to go to the final, the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I mean, should we be talking about Brad Spoelstra as Coach of the Year? I mean, I get those awards already given out.
Eric.
I'm sorry, I said Brad. I'm thinking Brad Stevens. Yeah, Eric Spoelstra.
You combined them.
They're brothers.
Yeah, Eric, Brad Spoelstra, Stevens, nurse.
I got what you were saying.
Yeah, but does Spoelstra deserve some recognition for Coach of the Year?
I said the other day, I mean, somebody else clapped back at me. Clap back, see that? And didn't like that. But
it's a thing.
I feel like, I've said it to you guys, I think Spoelstra is so underrated. He was the guy that was basically just, riding the coattails of LeBron and Wade.
He was handed the golden ticket.
He was.
Yeah.
But what he's done since that golden ticket left town, I think is pretty admirable. I mean, I think it's a pretty good job, especially this year. Yeah. He's coaching his butt off right
Heck
now.
Yeah.
I get frustrated with the NBA because anytime the Heat do even decently good, the story comes up that LeBron wanted him fired and they wouldn't fire Spoelstra and blah, blah, blah. And it literally, anytime the Heat make it past like the first round of the playoffs, the story comes up.
Yeah. I tell you what, those two teams have been, to me, more consistent than the Lakers and Clippers have even been.
Sure.
Lakers and Clippers are better, but they've consistently played well in the postseason, the Celtics and the Heat.
The Heat have only lost 1 playoff game so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, in both series, so. There you go.
Other good sports news from around the world. The Yankees gave up 10 runs yesterday in the same inning.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Struggling right now in New York? I mean, injuries are prevalent, but...
I mean, don't make any excuses, Yankee fans.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Hey,
you had to push the button.
Take off the Red Sox glasses for a couple seconds here and speak unbiased about the New York Yankees, please.
No, I mean, I feel like they've been pretty healthy.
Who's winning a home run battle right now, by the way, between Stanton and Judge?
I know they're both. Judge, and they've been benched for the last 2 months.
Yeah. All right. Maybe you're going to be limping to the finish line with like 5 home runs.
Anybody that's stolen more money in baseball than Giancarlo Stanton?
Here we go.
I mean, how many games has that guy played in the last 3 years?
Soapbox is out. Isn't he from? Didn't he play for the Suns?
He did.
What do you got against Stanton then?
He plays for the Yankees.
Okay.
Amongst other things.
All right.
Here's the deal, though. Seriously, with Major League Baseball, because you go into that ballooned playoff system where 8 teams, so it's almost hard not to make the playoffs.
Sure.
If you're halfway decent.
Well, unless you're the Red Sox, but go ahead.
The Red Sox are like the worst team in the game. Like Texas is a game lower. That's it. So Tampa's playing. See, here's the deal with your injuries. Tampa's had a bunch of injuries, and they're still in first place. Toronto has caught fire. The Yankees. Oh, I'm not even going to go to the Yankees yet. Then you have Cleveland, Chicago, Minnesota, all in, it looks like. Oakland, the 2 teams that are 7th and 8th for the AL spots. I mean, this is poetic justice. One, because everybody should hate the Yankees, and right now everybody does hate the Houston Astros.
Better believe it.
And they're 7th and 8th. And now what you got to rely on, this is the hard part. So to bounce the Yankees or the Astros out of the playoffs, which I really don't care if the Astros make it as long as the Yankees get bounced. Baltimore sits just a game and a half behind the Yankees. The freaking Baltimore Orioles, who are like a double-A team coming into the year. Detroit is only like 2 games back.
Yeah.
And now Seattle is like 2 games back. And the Angels are on fire all of a sudden. So maybe they
was one of your favorites.
That was actually a bad pick. I've done pretty well in my picks outside of the Angels. And the Angels are starting to catch fire.
I've seen better.
So anyway, the moral of this story is let's get the Yankees out of the postseason.
Well, hey, you know, I got the Twins and Dodgers, man. So if the Yankees are doing bad, I'm doing well.
Yeah, true. Yankees are beat up. I mean, so beat up. But it doesn't matter.
Well, Aaron Hicks, though. You know, time to step up then, right? I mean.
He did hit a 2-run homer like 10 days ago.
Well, yeah. I mean, leadoff player of the year last year. Now he's doing this thing this year. What more do you want from him?
Hey, one other cool story. DJ Stewart, who had gone 0 for 17 and really looked lost at the plate. Florida State alum, but Jacksonville guy, played the bowl school. He's really from Yulee and hit 3 home runs in a row.
Back to back Tommy Namsky dingers?
Yes,
you
which
like
was
that?
awesome. That was great to see. So good for him. Got off the schneid a little bit and did it against Garrett Cole, his first one. That will give you a little confidence.
Yeah.
And hit 3 home runs over the
Probably
weekend.
like Garrett Cole was my Cy Young prediction of the year. That's backfired in my face.
You know, Cole has been interesting. He's still been very good. He's still been good, but not like lights out good. I think his ERA is up around 4.
It's not what he's getting paid to do.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
And I haven't really dove inside the numbers with Cole, but still, I saw that ERA was up around 4. It's like, oh, that's not what they expected.
Yeah. What do you like more, the Red Sox winning or the Yankees losing?
No, not even close. Like I don't even know the Red Sox play in the big leagues anymore. I just know the Yankees lose.
But I'm saying, like, would you rather see a season of the Red Sox winning or just the Yankees like in shambles?
I'm getting just as much joy right now out of the Yankees maybe folding the tent and not making the postseason as I got out of the Red Sox winning their last World Series.
You're a sick
Is
pup,
that bad?
Brent Martin. Yeah, man, you're a sick pup, Brent Martin. No, you're a sick pup.
I am getting just about as much joy.
Yeah.
Although that was a pretty epic series against the Dodgers in hindsight. But yeah, I kind of like the Yankees losing.
You like it? Okay.
I'm calling for some blood.
Okay.
Around here.
Doug, we're only listening.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Dave Caldwell's comments. Did they really believe it? Did they really believe it? Plus, give me one thing from the weekend.
Get out that pail, Brent. Get out that pail, Brent. Carry that water. Let's go. Dave Caldwell talk coming up next.
Jags pail.
It's out. He's carrying. Arms looking a little tired.
We have to.
Lactic acid buildup.
There's room to put fail in there. The Jags fail pail.
He's carrying it a lot. Lactic acid buildup. Brent, can you handle it?
Take that, Bold City Cap.
Shots fired.
We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Scattered showers and a few storms with locally heavy downpours into this evening. Muggy overnight as we drop into the mid-70s. A mix of sun and clouds for tomorrow and Thursday and continued on and off showers and thunderstorms. Highs in the upper 80s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Hurry! It's the last time you'll get 5 years, 0 interest this year. The ride you want, the savings you need. Oh, and when it comes to credit approval, almost everyone gets approved. Sounds like it's time to get it all and get to Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. Finding the best ride starts with big-time selection. And at Arlington Toyota, you'll find over 750 new and pre-owned on the lot every day. Right now at Arlington, shop over 100 quality pre-owned cars to buy at 0 down and just $199 a month. Looking for a truck or SUV? Arlington's got 50 quality pre-owned trucks and SUVs to buy at 0 down and $269 a month. With Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. Now, when I say get it all at Arlington, I mean it, because you'll get a 30-day exchange policy with your purchase. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Just another way that Arlington goes the extra mile for you. Get it all when you shop pre-owned at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
Been dreaming of subway tile and butcher block counters? Outdoor kitchens and pavers?
Oh, honey.
The weather's great and it's time to knock out those nagging home projects with a Honeydew HELOC from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Borrow up to 90% loan to value and pay no closing costs. Best of all, we'll give you a free wheelbarrow. That's right, a free wheelbarrow. Apply today at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Just please, no more shiplap.
When you shop the 904, you're helping local businesses right here on the First Coast. Most of the money stays right here in our community. Plus, local businesses give our community its uniqueness and character that makes living on the First Coast so great.
Shop the 904.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
HBI, a national leader for career training in the building industry, is providing training, certification, and placement in the construction industry for veterans, their spouses, and children that are over the age of 18 at no cost. The following 2020 class dates are being offered: August 10th, September 14th, October 19th, and November 16th. For more program and class details, please call Joe Jones at 407-717-7609 or visit the website at hbi.org. That's hbi.org.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
At Diamonds Direct right now, there's nothing standing in your way of owning that magnificent piece of jewelry. Nothing. No down payment and no finance charges for 5 whole years. People are driving for hours to do this. On any purchase, just take that amazing Diamonds Direct price, divide by 60, and that's your payment. It's a smart way to buy. Keep your money in your pocket and still get that amazing ring or band or bracelet, even that bigger diamond. 5 years, 0 interest on any purchase on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Internal Revenue Service. When you owe a personal or business tax debt and can't pay, just hearing those 3 words brings feelings of fear and anxiety. I'm Jonathan David Suryash, Managing Tax Attorney at J. David Tax Law. Everyone knows that if you owe the IRS and don't pay, it's only a matter of time before tax liens, wage garnishments, or bank levies happen to you. The first step to resolution is our no-cost consultation. We take the time to go through your specific tax problem step by step. We explain exactly what your options are and how we will resolve your tax issue. J. David Tax Law is a local firm right here in Jacksonville, where only an experienced tax attorney will represent you. Our fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. If you have tax problems, call for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777, or find us on the web at jdavidtaxlaw.com. That's jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Are you ready for a new ride? Then your wait is over. It's the Today's the Day sales event, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Today's the day for you to drive away from Arlington one really happy customer in your brand new Toyota. That's because you'll get 0% for 60 months on all new 2020 Camrys, Corollas, and RAV4s. 0%. How about getting a new Toyota Plus, no payments for 90 days? Today's the day because that's exactly what you'll get at Arlington. And did I mention 2 years of free maintenance? Yes. Today's the day you get your new Toyota at Arlington plus 2 years of free maintenance. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Today is most definitely the day to get the Toyota you really want at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. Today is the day for full details.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Hi, happy Tuesday. I'm Jake Mitchell. The NFL season kicks off this Thursday, and the Jaguars have named captains. They are Gardner Minshew, Brandon Linder, and Chris Conley on offense, Josh Allen, Miles Jack, who wasn't down, Avery Jones, and Gerard Wilson on defense, and kicker Josh Lambo for special teams. Undrafted free agent rookie James Robinson will get the start at tailback for Week 1. Oregon's Penei Sewell, ESPN's number 2 rated NFL projected draft pick, is the latest college star to opt out of the season. Here's what the number 1 rated draft prospect Trevor Lawrence said when asked if he considered opting out.
I think everyone's thought about it just with everything going on. But, since I've made the decision to play, I hadn't thought about it again. That's my decision. I'm committed. I want to play my last year here, if that's what I decide to do.
If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jax. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
Never heard of what happened in Iowa yesterday, and I don't even know how to pronounce the name of it. Derecho.
Austin Lane.
Iowa State Cyclones. Should call them the Derechos. You can shorten it up, call them the Chos. Why not, man? I'm into it.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
It is going to be a young team. We currently have 16 rookies on the roster, but we feel good about it. And, Coach Marone and coaching staff did a hell of a job with the 90 players. I want to thank all the players that came through here when we started with 90, then down to 80, and then here we are at 53. And, our only message was that let's keep the 53 guys that deserve to be on this team. Shad gave us a directive to put the best team out there, and we feel like we did that with the players that we have. So we had to do 2 things in this season and put the best team out there, A, and B, get our salary cap under control. And those are 2 tough things to do initially at the same time, but we feel like we did a pretty good job.
That's Dave Caldwell, Jaguars general manager. Some interesting comments over the weekend talking about the roster. And let's be honest, if they don't believe that it's good and it gives them a chance to win, well, then who's going to?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's easy to say is I am, to be honest with you guys. We suck. All right. What GM is ever going to say that in the world?
How would that go with media members? What do you do with that?
Hey, you know what? Trending.
Yeah.
That would be trending.
It'd be trending.
That would be trending. What the thing is, what's interesting, the salary cap in connection with get the salary cap under control, sure, right, is a thing that teams do. It doesn't mean you're tanking to do that, but teams do that.
Yeah.
The salary cap and saying a directive to put the best team out there that we can seems to be a bit contradictory.
Correct.
Right? I mean, I don't know what the message was. Put the best team out there that you can, but stay make sure you have $30 million in cap space.
It costs money to win Super Bowls, Brent, in case you didn't know that.
Yeah.
It costs some money.
That's kind of the interesting part of it. Again, we're going to find out. What I like on the surface of this is there was no guarantee for people.
Yeah.
I mean, when you saw it, the only thing that would have been even more interesting is if they cut Leonard Fournette early in camp. Because that would have showed everybody that nobody's safe. And it certainly felt by the end of this that nobody was safe, which is kind of what you want to build, right? I mean, that's what you want to keep people on edge. You want to keep people competing and not getting complacent, That's a great thing to build.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hard thing to do in professional sports and be good.
Correct.
Because, let's be honest, guys are already penciled in. The offensive line was essentially penciled in. Gardner Minshew was penciled in. DJ Chark, Josh Allen, Miles Jack, Joe Schobert. Those guys are penciled in. And we don't know why they're penciled in. Well, because they've shown that they can be pretty good and make plays.
Reliable. Yeah.
There's still a lot of guys on this football team that have not shown that. Or have been inconsistent at that in their career. So some interesting comments. One that included, we can't afford to rebuild again. Well, this sure as heck feels like a rebuild. Again, tanking and rebuilding can be two different things. This feels like a rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what do you want to call it? Tanking, rebuilding? You ask yourself one question. Is the top priority right now winning football games? Is that the number one? It's always going to be a priority. Like, you don't get to the NFL, you don't coach the NFL, you don't play in the NFL if you don't want to win. So that's always going to be a priority. But on the hierarchy of priorities, where does winning right now fall in this team? Okay? I'm here to tell you I think there's more importance right now of rebuilding this team, revitalizing this team, as opposed to winning right now. Okay? Now, whether you want to call that tanking, whether you want to call that planning for the future, call it whatever you want to call it. But the most important thing, at least I think, is that winning right now is not the number one priority. It's a priority, but not number one.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It's kind of like I said last week on the show when we were talking about tanking a lot. I was like, I don't know if I would classify them as tanking. Not with Minshew and Caldwell and Marone's positioning right now. I don't think that's the case. I really don't. But if you're asking me, are they built to make a run to the playoffs? A lot of teams that can kind of feel like they can make the playoffs, but you say very unlikely for Super Bowl. So I'm not going to say are they trying to win a Super Bowl. But if you're asking me, are they even trying to make the playoffs, even with this expanded playoff this year in the NFL? I would say I don't think they're all in on it.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't look like it, not when you have that cap space. And quite frankly, you can make the argument that if you get in the dance, you got a chance. And so do everything you can. Spend money, spend cap space, get veterans every single year, because if you get in, you've got a chance to win the Super Bowl or go once you're in the dance. But you got to get there. And so that's what I said last week. I feel like this is a stepping stone season of some sorts. And I don't mean that for Marone, and I don't mean that for Caldwell. We've already had that discussion. I think for this organization, it's a stepping stone season. They are the coach that's stopping off at a mid-level job for 2 years so he can get a bigger job. Yeah. And right now, this is a team that is stopping off in 2020 to do the best they can with what they have in hopes of a bigger thing in 21 and 22.
Listen, whether you want to use the excuse of a salary cap, because let's be honest, I would be a horrible GM because to me, the salary cap doesn't exist. So I'd be treating this season like Madden. Oh, let's go ahead and bring in Clowney. Let's go ahead and bring in everybody. You know, everyone's getting a paycheck. I'm like Oprah. So, like, to me, I'd be a horrible GM. But once again, I don't think the salary cap's that real. There's always ways to make the salary cap work in your benefit. Whether it's, restructuring contracts, there's always a way. And I just echo what I just said before. Either you're winning or you're trying to accomplish something else. And it's as simple as that. And right now, I don't think the number one goal is winning. Now, from a player's perspective, you better believe it. From a player's perspective, it's always the goal to win. You have to win. Either you win or you don't have a job in the NFL. But to me, especially a GM, a front office position, sometimes even a coach, that's different, right? So once again, you can call it tanking. You can call it, planning for the future. Call it whatever you want to call it. But if your team's number one priority is not winning football games this year, then it is what it is. Because players, imagine if a player thought like that. Imagine if a first-round pick thought, you know what, This season, I'm going to take it a little easy. You know, I'm going to rest my body a little bit on that field, and I'm going to go all in next year when I have more talent around me. I'm going to go all in next year when I'm a little more ingrained in this system. This year, yeah, I'll play okay. But next year, I'm going all out. It does not work like that for players in that locker room, players on that field. But for some reason, it works like that for front office jobs and sometimes coaches as well.
Yeah, it doesn't, but in a weird way, it kind of does sometimes because players really play well in their contract year when it means the most. Yeah. But I get what you're pointing. You're not wrong in that sense. It's can't wait to see it on Sunday. And by the way, Dave Caldwell said this. Yeah. Hey, we have confidence we can compete with these teams. We have confidence we can stop the run, and we're going to get tested right away. He essentially said, talk to us in a couple weeks. Sure. Now, he didn't say I'm guaranteed to win or anything, but let's get him on the field, and let's see in a couple weeks. Well, he's – what a test. I mean, for your weakness, which appears to be stopping the run and defense, you get the Colts offensive line and then the Tennessee Titans trying to shove it down your throat in week number 2. It's a huge test, right? We're going to know a lot. Yeah. We're going to know a lot by September 20th.
Listen, let's put the sunshine and rainbows away for just 1 second, okay? Because it's blinding, all right? And my eyes are...
I didn't even say anything positive. No,
listen. I'm just saying, though, right now, let's have a little exercise here where the sunshine and rainbows are getting put away, okay? The sun's
Take the pail.
Take the pail. The sun's starting to go down, Brent, all right? It's getting late, and let everybody relax a little bit. Let's say right now that September 20th, the Jaguars are 0-2. And let's say Marlon Mack, let's say...
not 200 again.
Jonathan Taylor, let's say Derrick Henry, they have field days on this defense. If it's September 20th and we're listening to Dave Caldwell talk, then what is that going to sound like? Because he's telling us to wait till we see then.
If I was Dave Caldwell, I wouldn't talk.
Doug, hey. Go to the bullpen. Let's go, Doug.
Todd Wash.
Todd Wash.
Get up here.
Logan Cook is punting out of his mind. Bring it up. Let's go. Net averaging out of his mind right now.
TC, come back and sell tickets.
I got you.
Oh, boy. Hey, a big warm welcome to Fields Auto Group jumping on with us here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Want to say hello to them. You probably heard their spots today, and we appreciate them jumping on board here on ESPN 690. You can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group stores in Jacksonville. Check them out at fieldsauto.com. Fantastic people. Fields Cadillac in Jacksonville, Fields St. Augustine. Steph actually leasing a Cadillac XT6 and absolutely loves it. So check them out at fieldsauto.com. Plenty of locations right here in the Jacksonville area. You got a fight coming up on Saturday. Tell us about fight camp. You confident? You're loose? You're relaxed? You're ready to roll?
Yeah. So this week it's kind of like the dress rehearsal week, right? I mean, obviously the hard parts are all done. I can't get any stronger. I can't get any more skilled. So now it's about just making sure my mind's right for the fight coming up. So it's just kind of going through the motions a little bit and making sure my body's finally in tuned along with my mind. And needless to say, it is. I'm talking to you today, going back and forth. So it's kind of business as usual. Had my first COVID test today, though, Brent, and that was interesting.
Negative,
yeah. So we're good to go there, and I can never read those results because literally, like, I'll show you the picture so that they send you like the update or whatever, and it says this. Literally, it says patient results, and it says SARS on it. So I thought, okay, I have SARS. What does that mean? But it turns out, yeah. See, I mean, they don't do a good job of labeling this stuff. So
I should just give you an X.
Exactly.
Test negative.
Just say either you have it or you don't have it. Don't say patient results SARS and then below it's like a minus. And I don't know. So I had to send it to my wife, obviously in healthcare. She assured me that I'm good to go. So no COVID-19. So the fight is on, needless to say. But dude, you knew it was going to be a bad experience. So I got the cotton swab thing, like the Q-tip. So first nostril, not so bad. We talked about this before on the show. My nose, it's seen some stuff, let's just say, okay? It's been beaten, it's been battered, and I sit before you a humble man. Needless to say, my right side of my nostril I can't breathe out of at all, right? I mean, it's basically non-existent. So you know it's a bad sign when the guy tells you, all right, tilt your head back, all right, yes, sir. Left nostril, all right, good, all right, let's see that right nostril. Ooh. I'm like, it's like, you don't have a lot to work with here. He goes, all right, let's see what I can do. I'm like, hey, You're in the healthcare. I don't want to hear, let's see what we can do regarding sticking something up my nose. So needless to say, that was not fun. Like, he had to actually go up there and kind of nudge it up there a little bit.
You got the hammer on the other end of
dude,
that thing.
it was rough, man. Not a fun experience, but like, and in the grand scheme of things, though, like a COVID-19 test compared to getting tattooed, like it's not even close, man. Like it's like 10 seconds. Yeah, it's 10 seconds. You're good to go. You're in or out. It wasn't that big a deal. But it was a little uncomfortable in my right nostril.
I brought this up, and I really got to knock on wood. I was going to say, I'm saving it for the end of the year. If I get through the whole, I was thinking of this the other day. I was like, I haven't had a COVID-19 test yet.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty good record, and it feels like here in 2020.
Sure.
Like, that's a badge of honor.
Yeah. Good for you, man.
I mean, I think maybe there's a lot of us that have it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are.
Or some call it irresponsible, but either way.
Irresponsible. One of the That's a good point.
Yeah.
Should I have had one? Should I be promoting this fact that I haven't had one?
You're good. You're good.
But if I can make it to the end of the year, that would be great.
Yeah.
All right, we got to give me one thing before we get out of here.
Yeah.
What do you got?
You go first. You go first. Who's go first?
I go first.
Or somebody go first.
I'm going first. Did you see Novak Djokovic?
I did. Ooh.
I've never seen it. You know, it's amazing you can do sports for as long as we've done sports, and you pay attention as a fan. I used to watch a ton of tennis.
Yeah.
I had no idea that rule existed.
It's insane.
That if you hit the line judge, that you'd get DQ'd. You default. You lose. The number one player in the tournament defaulted because he got mad and really didn't even do anything maliciously.
Yeah.
It was wild scene.
Well, listen, I'm going to call him the Joker because I can't pronounce his last name. It's there's Jokic and Djokovic, whatever. But listen, man, don't hit the lady in the neck, dude. Go for the knee or something. Like, if the knee's okay. The neck, though.
He didn't do it on purpose.
Hey, real quick, Brent, if you go to McDonald's, I want you to order this. Order a quarter pounder with cheese and bacon, a medium order of fries, barbecue sauce, and a Sprite to drink. It's called the Cactus Jack, named after Travis Scott, who now has his own meal at McDonald's. By the way, Brent, Travis Scott is a rapper.
I know that. Kuz has seen him
go ahead
here in Jacksonville.
Brent. Go ahead and drop a song on us real quick.
No, not doing that.
All right.
Sicko mode.
There it is.
You got anything from the weekend?
I'm going to be the next Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Have you seen this? The guy from Jelly Belly is hiding random tickets around the U.S., and if you find one, you get a piece of the company.
Yeah, I bet because no one eats jelly beans anymore.
Jelly Belly's good, man.
Oh, grow up one time.
Dude, hey,
Jelly Belly.
At the very least, next time I go to Costco, I'll bring you some jelly beans.
What's
I like
jelly
that.
beans?
The problem is they're not doing the state of Florida, so I have to go to Georgia for it.
Yeah.
Really?
He didn't hide one in
the
Florida.
country because they couldn't come to Florida?
Because that company's tanking. It sounds like a detriment more than a gift. It sounds like a responsibility.
Hey, I'll take jelly beans for life right now.
Yeah.
You got to run the company? No, it sounds like a death sentence.
Would you rather win $5,000 or jelly beans for life?
Jelly beans for life.
Go and give me
I think I'm the same way.
I'll invest it all day. No. You guys are out of control. Grow up, both of you. Grow up tomorrow, okay?
Jelly beans for life. Just
Grow up.
something for life
Both
feels
of you.
good.
I know, it feels good.
Grow up, both of you. Surrounded by a bunch of adolescent tots. I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't either. But we'll do it again and come up with more creative words. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Thanks for listening here on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Live, local, loud. Coming up next on ESPN here in Jacksonville.
Keep climbing.
It's intercepted. Picked off of the 12-yard. 15 minutes in. 5, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown to Mario Terry. He is